Close your eyes, don't look. There we go. That should work for us. Morning, Jackie. Morning, Tony. Ooh, Kansas City, minus 15. Brr, 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 brr. I think we're upper 70s today, 77. It's still a little chilly this morning. I think it was like 44 earlier. I'm just going to do a little sewing over here while we wait for everyone to come in. Plus, that way I'll have a little bit of practice because, yeah, I didn't try this technique out before the live stream, of course. We want an honest reaction, right? Let's see how it works without knowing what we're doing. I put a link down below in the description box to the papers that I'm using. There's also a free pattern. I believe I read it was Robert Kaufman that's connected to these papers. My spool of white thread is really getting a little bit low. I can start seeing the blue color underneath it. I don't think we're going to run out today, but we could come. I should run out of it this weekend probably. I do have a new spool ready to go. This is how much is on it to start with. And I write the date on the inside, so I started this spool that's on my machine right now, March of 2025. Hi, camping lady. Hello. Hope everyone is having a nice start to the weekend. Oh, this is a little, not difficult, but I haven't had to line up long bits of fabric like this before. Once everyone comes in, I'll explain what we're doing, and then we'll do it. I'm sorry, I haven't been awake very long today, and I haven't talked to too many humans, so it's going to just take me a minute to warm up the brain and the voice. Hi, Connie. Washington State, cold and foggy. I think that's how you are for most of the winter, right? Cold and foggy. I can see where this could be a little bit difficult though, because how do you know which ones you just, if you're paying attention, great, right? But how do you know which pile you just pulled from? This is a different way of doing string blocks based off of a layer cake. Of course, I already had opinions before I even started. All right, there's one. I wanted to have an example of what we're doing. Morning, Kathy. Oh, my thread cutter. Bum, bum, bum. You know, it's really good to have everything within reach if you can. Those big sewing studios would be really nice, but then you would still like, I think the big sewing studio is nice so you can have a big table for pressing, big table for cutting and sewing and stuff. But otherwise, it's just good to have things along the wall. Because I like to have everything really close, so when I need it, I don't have to walk very far to go get it. You know, I don't want to interrupt what I'm doing. Whoa, avalanche. Excuse me. Let me do this. Put you out of the way. I already did that. All right, time to iron. I'm already confused. I am already confused. Ooh, this iron goes to sleep fast. I forgot about that. I have the Panasonic cordless iron out. I'm gonna have to come up with a new plan. There's not enough room right here on the table for all of this. No water in the iron, no steam. Makes Robin a very sad, sad person. I like a good hot steamy iron. But look, Ma, no cords. That's a good benefit. I think if you chose specific colors versus, like I have a layer cake. That's the whole point of this project, is to use a layer cake. Let's see, how many people do we have in here? We have 14. That's good enough for me. Everyone else can play catch up. I'm going to sew these together and then I will let you know what we're doing. Boy, it's like a puzzle. I sewed it flipped, but this works too. I don't need extra confusion. I get an ad. Bum, 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 bum. I got Mr. Sandman stuck in my head. I sew the way I do because I know I am easily confused, and I think I'm already doing this wrong. Hold on. I don't need any extra confusion, right? I'm fully confused all on my own. I don't need anyone to make it a little more difficult. If I wanted difficult, I would specifically choose difficult. Like I have that Tula Pink butterfly kit, and that's going to be something I have to do on good brain days and make sure I'm paying attention to what I'm doing, because it's a fabric kit and I can only do it once. I mean, I can supplement, of course, but those fabrics don't exist anymore, so I need to be careful. But the brain doesn't work on most days, so I just kind of want to have fun and just sew. And I think if I did this as an entire quilt and not just a couple blocks at a time, I think it would be okay. Ooh, there's bias like crazy. All right, last one, and then we'll have a block. I'll trim it, and then we can go forth and start all over again. I had actually thought about doing one block last night, getting my table here all set up for a live stream last night. I realized that when I was laying in bed at midnight, going, I didn't do any of that. All right, here's our nice, and oh, you know what? I'm gonna have a lot of little bits to make batik fabric postcards with. It's so weird not to have steam. This iron actually, see, if I was using the Oliso, it is a little hot, but there's no way I would be able to touch it because it's over 400 degrees. All right, move you over there. All of you stay here. Did I get anybody stuck? Nope. So you guys go there. Let's trim this down. I'm supposed to trim it to 7.5 inches. So this is, I mean, it's jagged. There wasn't too many like actual directions. Oh, that's interesting. I don't need it to be perfect, but what if I did? I know you guys jumped in the middle of my own conversation. Just please bear with me. I'm going to go up there, line that up. Okay. You know how if you've ever made string blocks, you'll know that they're always kind of ugly until you trim them. So we'll trim this up and make it pretty. So we have an example to look at. I think I want to cut this one. I tend to look at the scraps that I'm cutting off and how I could best use those, and that determines whether I cut or I cut. Okay. Yeah, so there's a string block. Bada boom. These all need to have, hold on. I try to keep some of these empty so I can just put stuff in them like that. But where will she put it now? I don't know. All right, so let's start from the beginning, shall we? Let me check on everybody. Oh no, Jackie, you ironed over the cord. Yep, that's not good. It's worse when you cut through it, right? Oh yeah, it will keep, it warms up the room too, Tony, right? It warms up the space. Even in a big room like this, when I iron, it gets really warm in here. Morning, Audrey. Snowing in West Texas. I was wondering about that last night. Audrey made her first zipper pouch, and it worked. Isn't that fun? Morning, Jody. Oh, someone else is in Washington. Was it Washington State? I thought I read. I could be wrong. Then they have, they got foggy days or something like that. Oh, yep, there you go. You caught up. Oh, do, 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 do. Hi, Becky. Oh, I'm stepping on the, I'm like, what's under my foot? My microphone. All right, are we good? Am I all caught up? Okay, so what we're doing today, I put a link down below in the description box for the patterns and for the papers and for the pattern. So what I am using, it's called Lori Holt of Bee in My Bonnet Paper Strings Quilt Paper. It is $14.48. It's meant for a layer cake and you get 42 pieces. So I think what they have everyone doing, oh, you know what? Yeah, I think I'm doing it wrong. I am 100% doing it wrong. Let's read the directions. I thought I read the directions, but I guess I didn't. I'm a skimmer. Oh, I'm supposed to iron this paper on each of the layer cake pieces. I was doing stack and whack. So if you don't want to be confused, you have 42 papers and 42 of your layer cakes, right? So you iron your paper onto each layer cake. So we're going to start over because I want to do it by the directions before I do whatever I want. I have this scrapbooking bin. I emptied it. You'll see that in this week's studio vlog. I'm going to put this in here. It's 12.5 inches. It's meant for scrapbooking paper and to keep your projects organized for each child, each month, whatever. I'm also going to put all of these papers in. And we're going to go like this. I'm going to show you how to do it the proper way, and then I'm going to tell you how I would do it and some ways that we can cheat. I am using the Marcus Fabrics Primo Batiks. It's been in my stash for a bit. I believe maybe Crafty Godmother sent it to me, or I don't know. But anyway, I love it because it's all the fun, bright colors. I do not want to use it for this project, but I want to have something with these fabrics. So instead of doing whatever I want to do, I'm going to use it because we're using what we have and we're not hoarding everything. I choose to hoard other things. Good morning, Gwen. Good morning, Sue. Good morning, everyone in the background who's just doing what you need to do and lurking. Good morning, afternoon, evening to everyone who comes back on the replay. Hello to Susan. 21 and snowing and sleeting. That's not fun. I just kind of wing it. I know how to make a string block and I know how to make a stack and wax, so why is this any different? I haven't watched Crafty Gemini in a while, so if it's something in the last couple of years, I haven't, but let me write it down. Let me write it down. Let me write it down on a piece of paper. So she's probably doing like a quilt as you go. Crafty Gemini. Zipper pouch, 2.5 inch batting roll. I have a few rolls of batting to make jelly roll quilts or jelly roll rugs, I should say, and other jelly roll projects. I haven't done it yet. I've never made one. Well, I have made one, but I haven't made one successfully because my old machine wasn't strong enough. So I do want to try it on the Juki now. I just haven't sat down to do it. Jody, you put the top together? Your Christmas one for your sister? That is awesome. Jody, oh my goodness, you dropped your sewing machine out of the car? I could see how that could easily happen. Okay, so here is, I think it's a fun one. This is for like making a quilt. And they put sashing and the little cornerstones. I want to do something, I have a couple ideas. I want smaller blocks. So I'm going to do something to this to make it smaller. I'll put that over there. Okay, so what it says is we're supposed to take each paper and iron it on. What I'm thinking is this is kind of like a freezer paper. Can you kind of see? Sorry, remember my floor bounces when you step anywhere near the tripod? I don't know that you can tell that this is shiny, but there's a shiny side and real easy to tell there's a printed side. So what we're going to do is there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of the sections there. I want to double check how many colors I used because I was one short. So I want to know if we need 6 or if I need 7. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. I think I only put 4 here. 5. That would be 5. So I want to have at least 6 fabrics because when I went to shuffle them, I didn't have enough to shuffle. Okay. So we're going to make 6 of these. 1. So remember there's 42 in here. Now we're going to do it the official way and then we're going to talk about how to do it. If you don't want to do it this way, you can't afford to do it this way, or you don't have access to fat quarter shop, right? 2, 3, 4, 5. Kind of already gave you the little tip there, little hint when I said it feels like, it doesn't feel exactly like freezer paper. My freezer paper is probably the freezer paper that can go through a printer, or they get it in giant rolls, because the freezer paper that I own that I bought like, I don't know, 20, 30 years ago, it, sorry, sidetracked. I saw a little line, little arrows. The freezer paper I own is really old, but I'm sure it's about the same, the Reynolds freezer paper. I have to put this over here because the cats chew on plastic. And then let's do 6 different colors. Now, the way these go in order, it's kind of rainbowy, and there's a lot of red, orange together and stuff, so I'm going to pull them in different order. Oh no, Jody. Yeah, I would have cried. I don't know if I read it or not, but okay, the machine's in the shop, so you still have to You have to baste the quilt, right? You have to cut the strips for the binding, even if you can't sew them together. You have, yeah, pin baste it, and you kind of have to figure out on your quilting, and you have to clean the floor and have a space big enough to lay it down. So there are things you can do while you're waiting, right? So there's one. Oh, I love these fabrics. Look at this one. A lot of the batiks that I have are really darker colors, so these are so fun to me to see. 2, 3. I have a blue, so let me see what else I can bring in. Check out this one. I already cut into this one. That one's gorgeous. Oh, here's one. I love the swirls. 4. 5. And we'll do another swirl. We'll do this one because it's not sticking to anything. So there's 6, right? Now, me, I would have put all of these in stacks of however much I can cut with my 60mm rotary cutter and be comfortable. Maybe 8, I think I can do without having too much shifting issues. Let's utilize my milk can. All right. Wake up, iron. So we're supposed to iron it to the front of our fabric. If you did it all to the back, I guess it would be fine, or all to the front. If you have, you know, like batiks, they don't really matter much. Yeah, some of them are just gorgeous in this pack. I wouldn't mind sewing these together just 10" by 10" and just make a quilt that way. Already basic quilt lines. Thought I saw something about quilt lines. Okay, so then we're going to put this on, and you'll know real quick if your 10" square is actually 10 inches. I would do no steam for this, and I think it needs a lower heat than what I have it on. I had it on medium, and the medium was taking quite a while, and it was kind of like making everything curl, which would probably mean that it needs to go lower. But I think low heat. I wonder what the direction says, Robin. Let's go down to low heat, and let's go back to the directions. Make a block. Of course I put it in there so I can't see the other side. Sue made a crib size quilt and a 42" square baby quilt. That sounds like fun. Oh, you're ahead of it for showers in February. Pack. Arrange the, whoa. Yeah, no, it just says press. I tried to look up videos and stuff for this. The reason it caught my eye is a few weeks ago, I think just past Christmas maybe, Fat Quarter Shop had a video shorts on YouTube, and they showed this. I thought, what's that kind of magic? But they didn't have any like directions. It was just bing, bang, bang, boom. I tried to search on YouTube and on the internet and typing in the specific words. I checked Lori Holtz, and I just couldn't find the directions other than how to make the quilt. Yeah, I think lower heat is the best option. I think anytime you're using paper, and it doesn't have to like stick permanently, it just has to stick a bit. Let me get my little iron rest. I've really been kind of in a mood to just like wing a lot of things and just do, hi Laura, just do whatever. My apologies for anyone who, hi Laundry to Cotton, anyone who pops in that I didn't say hello to, my apologies. I've got my head down and my thinking cap on, and that's about the end of it for me. So hopefully everyone else has said hello. Sometimes if it's a mad rush of chatting, people don't always see all of it. Okay, I think I might change my mind and think the medium heat might have been better. Just because I'm impatient. 100% just impatient. So this one's fun. This process, I don't see how this is going to do anything for me. Why is this, I'm already getting agitated. Why is this a process, right? When I could, okay, buy these papers. There's an affiliate link in the description box. For those of you that feel that $14.48 to make papers for a quilt is out of your price range, or you're unable to get it to your country with shipping and customs and all that, let's discuss options. This feels like freezer paper. You could take freezer paper. Now, since this is a purchase thing, I won't tell you the measurements. You can see that the center is wide and then the two corners are wide. And look, we have A and B, and then we have D, E, and F. So they're not evenly spaced. You can have them evenly spaced if that's what your brain likes. Well, I just kind of got a little smart-assed here, Sue, and figured I knew what I was doing. Hi, Yvette. Thank you when you guys say hi, because I don't usually see when the people come in. I just see you guys saying hi. Now, this iron does cool down quickly, so I will need to put it back on the heat probably every 2 papers. I am now on medium. Remember, there's no water in here because it was like white everywhere. It was bad. It spat and spurted, and it went crazy. But I like the fact that I'm already tripping over my cord for my microphone because I haven't left the house. I mean, I leave the house, but I haven't wanted to battle Best Buy. I want someone to tell me what to buy. You know, I kind of have an idea of what I need, but I really want it to be, buy this, Robin. Pay $3 more than you would if it was on Amazon. But you know what? I think that's okay. Let's see. I'll just give it a quick heat. And then I can use my cordless microphone. Because if my words are like a Japanese movie and they don't match my lips, it doesn't matter because you can't see my lips. Yeah, that one's really nice. And batiks have a certain smell to them. You never wing anything. You're very much into the directions. Yeah, see, I struggle with directions. My brain starts thinking and wandering and I don't pay attention. I have to really function, right? Pay attention, Robin. Someone's talking to you. Follow the conversation. Don't think 3 steps ahead. Same thing, I don't read ahead on crochet and knit patterns because it makes myself confused. I got to go row by row. But with quilting, a lot of the times you have to read ahead. So then I have all the extra information and my brain's talking to me and I'm thinking about grocery shopping and yeah, it's just directions don't work for me. So I had to learn how to just make things up as I went. I've designed many quilts that way, you know. I know the techniques, so have you ever watched, Nikki from, oh my goodness, I lost the train of her. What is her? She has a YouTube channel and she does quilts where she just kind of grabs some scraps and makes a fish block and then puts it up on her quilt wall. And then she's like, oh, okay, well, let me do a 3-inch border around it and I want to do some wonky houses. So then she'll put that up. Hi, Barb. I didn't see Barb. Hi, Connie. Hi, Bob. Hi, Audrey. Oh, there's Barb. I had to look. Hello, Barb. Okay, so everybody's pressed. I want to make sure all of my papers are, whoa. So I want A in this upper left corner on everything to make sure, because I'm going to cut through everything. All right, I'm going to cut through everything. I can sit here and just a little pin, cut, and sew. Yes, I love pin, cut, sew. So I design things like she does. I just put things up on the wall, and when it's big enough, I'm good. Maybe I'll put something in this corner and then down in that corner, and I'll just work around it. It's my favorite way to make a quilt. I don't like to do a whole bunch of patchwork quilts and stuff like that. I love a patchwork quilt once. And then I just want to have fun. Because oh, I'm really in one of those moods today. Girls just want to have fun. I went to bed late and I got up a few times during the night. Not necessarily early. I got up at 7:30, but I didn't go to bed till 1. Okay. So we've made it this way so far, right? If you don't have this, you can just measure. You can use a piece of paper and just make these patterns. You can like put little marks on the paper, and then you can like cut your whole stack and do like a stack and whack, where it's, I don't know if that's the exact words, that might be one of those weird kaleidoscope ones, but you stack a whole bunch of fabric together and you whack it off. You can do even so that every block is the same, or maybe you want to cut here, and let's say this is a 3-inch from here to here. It's not. Don't look at my mat to count the spaces that are 1 inches. So maybe you want to do a 3-inch and then 3 inches down, and you cut there. And the next one you want to do 2.5, and the next one you want 5 inches or whatever, which you probably wouldn't. But then you want to just keep going down. So you can mark a piece of paper, like a printer paper or something. So you can do this with different size blocks. It doesn't have to be 10 inches. It could be 11 inches or 9.5. Or you can get a piece of freezer paper and cut it at 10 inches. Draw your lines on that piece of freezer paper, right? I don't think I should stack and whack these. I think supposed to do them individually, right? So if you take and make a nice neat pile of all of your fabric and you iron your freezer paper to the first piece, that's what I did with that block, then you can cut it, okay? So now we have all our pieces. We're going to hold off. We're going to move to another idea. Because now that we've cut it with freezer paper, you can cut 42 pieces of freezer paper if you want to do it the same way. Maybe you've made this quilt once with these papers, so you've contributed to the company and you've supported small business, but you're like, that was a lot of money and I need to make 7 quilts for the grandkids. I can't afford to do that 7 times. So you cut a piece of freezer paper, you cut 1 piece or 42, and then when you're done and you have another piece, right, you've already cut these, you can just iron this piece on, and line everybody up, right? So if you have access to this, go this way. If you don't have access or it's not in your budget, you can make up your own. Why don't I just iron on 1 square? Because that's what I did with that, Connie, but the direction says, no, I'm not supposed to do that. So I want to do it by the directions because I think that's fair. If I'm going to use this product and show it to you guys, I should at least show you how it's supposed to be done properly. And then after that, we can do it the Robin way. Okay? So I'm going to cut these. And then I'm going to do the next one. This one's going to show you how to not get confused, all right? If you're doing it in one of the other ways I rambled about, and my apologies if I confused anyone, you can always email me or leave a comment when it's not live anymore, and I'll try to explain better. But once I cut these, then that paper is going to be on each of those 42 pieces of fabric. So this one is always going to be an F. I won't have to think about what order the colors should be in. By doing it this way, this is going to ensure that all of my blocks are different. Yeah, Jackie, right? Thank you for that reminder. Always leave one so that you can print more yourself. Yeah, so this is the way we're doing it the proper way. We ironed our papers onto 42 different pieces of our layer cake, or in mine, I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, just to make sure I can shift them around. Now, I believe I'm supposed to sew right through the papers. but I don't know. I don't like sewing through the paper because then I got to remove the paper, right? Sewing through a string block that's sewn on a piece of paper, I just pull the papers off. But if I sew these together, then I have two seams that I have to now pull the papers out of. I'm going to get a little ruler just for the small bits because the big ruler in this small space is a pain. I did notice with this Missouri Star ruler that if you have it upside down, so you're looking at the wrong side, it does make it a little bit weird. It's got like a little bevel or something to it. It's got a little curve. It's not perfectly flat. I'd like to get a little shorter ruler, but what I'm struggling with is I don't know how wide or how long I want it to be. So I don't always have to bring out the big, 6.5 by 24. I think there's Creative Grids has a 6.5 by maybe 12.5. I wouldn't mind a 6.5 by 15. That would work out really good. We're all confused, right? All right, hold on, everyone. I'm going to fix the confusion. It's because I interjected with stuff. We're going to do this officially. I just wanted to make sure I rambled before everyone left me, and I have an ad. Let me unconfuse you. Pull out a layer cake that has 42 10-inch squares. Pull out this pack of papers. Iron a piece of paper to every one of your 42 squares. You will have 42 pieces of fabric with a piece of paper ironed onto it. This is a temporary adhesive on there. It's something like freezer paper, so we'll be able to easily pull the paper off. After you have them all put on, everybody's got a piece of paper on it. You will then cut out all of these strips. There is a pattern in the description box that shows you how to turn this layer cake into a quilt. Don't let it mislead you. You will still need sashing or at least a big border or something because you can't just make it with this product. If you can stack everything up nice and neat, you can cut through many layers at once. Robin cannot do that while talking to people, so she will not be doing that. I really struggle staying on task because I think of 7 different ways that I could do it differently that would be quicker, easier, and better for me. But we're doing us today. So now I have everything right. I have A, B, C, D, E, F. I want to stack them all. As I'm cutting one, put it like this, right? I've already messed it up and I don't care. As you cut it, have a section over to the side where you can just sit this down on the table. I don't have room for that, so we're winging it. So we're going to put all of the A's together and all of the D's. Oh, and here's an F, and here's an E. And we're going to stack them all back. So it's a stack of 42 or however many you want to stack. Make a couple different piles. If you're making different piles, you need to have a pile of at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so that we can mix them up. If you only have 4, then you're going to have 2 of the same fabric in your block. So if you want to have different fabrics in every block, then you need to have different fabrics. You have to have as many fabrics as pieces. If you've made a mess like I have, then we just need to peek and make sure things are in the right spot. Miss Mocha, if you put claws, oh look, this one's coming undone. What will I ever do? Well, I can just hit it with my iron again. not a big deal. We're not having a crisis. If you're doing anything yourself, just make sure you don't use a heat erasable pen, because, you know, it'll erase. Miss Mocha, I fed you before the live stream, did I not? You want food again? Do you think because your name is Pretty and you're so special, you should have more food? Yep, we all agree. I don't even have to look. Come on. Come on. Come here. Hold on. My microphone's not long enough. Eat over here so my microphone's long enough. Eat right there, okay? Thank you. Appreciate it. Honestly, I tended to everyone's need before I turned on the live stream. And we've only been doing this for like 40 minutes. Yeah, it's for people who can't, mix up colors on their own. And they really want someone to tell them exactly what to do. And there's nothing wrong with that. We all have our own ways of doing things. So now that we have this, what we're going to do is we're going to leave pile A alone. Right? She just wants all the attention. Her sisters are sleeping. Take the first one off of B. Let's take a minute. Yellow, red, orange, blue, green, blue. Yellow, red, orange, there. Okay, and then we took, gosh darn it, Robin. We left A alone, right? Okay. So now this stack is ordered in the same color order as A. I'm going to take the top one from this one and move it to the bottom of the stack. Now let me make sure this one is ordered the same as this one. Yellow, red, blue, green. Look at that. We did good. So we took the top one. This one we're going to take the top two and move it to the bottom. And that's going to shuffle all of our fabrics so that each block is different. Oh yeah, she's definitely unique. This is an old thing that's been around since I've been quilting. It's just a helpful way to allow you to just use a stack of fabric. That's why I always knew it as a stack and whack. 1, 2, so we take 3 off the top of this. You see how you would need to have multiple fabrics so that you can do this? Yellow. Taking a second to fix it now will make it easier later. Oh, hold on. I got to pick up the food now because S'moresy's is eyeballing it. And that's not good for her tummy. She's already got tummy issues this week. Okay. Normally I would just be a bull in the china shop and I get whatever I get, but I'm trying to do things in a little bit of a different way now. This green, that green, and then blue. 1, 2, 3, and then we do 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 to the bottom. And then we've got yellow, red, pink, blue, green, green, blue. 1, 2, 3, 4, in case we forgot, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now they say this is supposed to give me a different order of blocks, right? Yeah, Darlene just likes to wing it too. I mean, why not? You have to make do with what you have, right? So kind of figure out what you can make. I'm not a standard quilter. I don't have the basic quilting stuff. I don't buy yards and yards. I'm a scrappy quilter, and I'm like scrappy. I try to bring in one color to coordinate everything, like a white or a gray or something. Right, Connie? And then what you would do is you would sew all of these together. And then that would give you a 7.5-inch block. But now I have to either peel the papers off or sew it with the papers on. They want them with the papers on, so I'm going to sew them with the papers on. Mocha, go lay down. Don't make me yell at you on a live stream. Move your butt. We're not going out because it's not nice. The boys can already hear me talking in here. They don't need to hear me with a door open. All right. 1/4 inch seam allowance. I could have had all these done even as a scrappy string. You know, if you use like jelly roll strips or something. For those of you that cut your scraps into specific strip sizes, 5-inch, 2.5, 3.5, you could do that. Just grab a piece of paper about 1/2 inch larger than you want your finished block to be. I have a whole playlist of string blocks. You're gonna make me do it. Go. I don't have anything for you. I don't know what's going on with you guys this week. It's like corralling a bunch of toddlers, I swear. Yeah, well, everyone wanted to do some paper piecing, and I thought this was, you know, foundation. I thought this was going to be an introduction to foundation paper piecing because, you know, I just saw it and it said papers, and I saw that quick little video. So I said, hey, let's go ahead and do this. It would be a fun way to start. I'm going to flip all these over just because I want to see the fabric. It's annoying me. But I was wrong. But this is, uh-oh. Uh-oh. Let's see what happened. Jiminy cracked corn. And I tried to care. What am I missing? The red. I don't have a red. Oh, well, there's a red. Darn it. Yellow. There's a green. There's a blue. This one. I'll just check each one to make sure it works. See, look, I'm already kind of peed off, you know. This is not, if this works for you guys, I think it's great. I think it's a great idea. I think the theory behind it is amazing, but don't let me, I'm going to take it off. Because what if I want to reuse it? Boy, I got an attitude problem today. This is one of those times when I tell the kids, I'm like, listen, don't talk to me this weekend, okay? Mom's got a problem. All right. The paper, oh, you know what the paper is going to be good for, you guys? Because of the bias. There's bias everywhere. I'm pretty good with bias. I had to figure that out years ago. So I know kind of how not to mess up bias. If you sew through the paper, then you don't have to worry about bias. See? Oh, I'm supposed to use a scant 1/4 inch. Gosh darn it. Whatever. I'll do it on the next one. I guess we could sew all of these, right? And then all of these, and then all of these. And maybe that'll keep me less confused. Plus, I'll be able to see everything together. Yeah, if you sew through the paper, you won't have to deal with the bias. Says the person who's peeling the paper off. Sometimes, you know, I'm only being kind of irritated today. You know, my apologies. But if this is what works for you, then I say do it. Who cares what Robin's doing? All right, let's look at this really close though. You see how we have this point here and this point here? Let me line it up. If you have fabric that matters, make sure it's right sides together. So if you have where are we going? There we are, a little bit extra here. Oh, thank you so much. Let me check and see who you are in a second. And a little bit here. So I don't want to have it so that it's like all the way over like that. We want to make sure it stays nice and even. Laundered Cotton Quits, thank you so much. We're here for reality TV, right? I appreciate it. Now I have to give S'moresy food because, you know, someone else had food, so now she wants food. Really, it is. It's like raising my children all over again. Okay. Then I have to tuck this back in. Mocha, don't you even look at me, Mocha. I will hug you and kiss you and love you until you cry. Mocha's my little nervous kitty, and she doesn't like a lot of attention, but I have her on gabapentin, so her stress levels are much lower. And then, yeah, so, but if I want her to stop doing what she's doing, I pick her up and I pet her and I kiss her and I love her, and she don't like it. Yeah, I never did like the scant. I got a 7.5 out of that. I'm a little concerned that maybe if I do it the right way, it won't be right. So all I'm going to do is my needle on this Juki, I can move my needle to the right. I'm just going to click it over 2 clicks. I do actually do that a lot when I'm making 2/4 square triangles at the same time or something. If I'm doing it only a 1/2 inch larger, I make a scant 1/4 inch. If I want it just a 1/4 of an inch, I just make a larger block. I start with 1 inch larger. Because my 1/2 square triangles are always wonky. So then we put these two. When we're sewing one way, the slant goes up. We're sewing the other way, the slant goes down. It's the Marcus Fabric Primo Batiks. It's a layer cake. And it's from a while ago, so we don't know if it's still in existence. But I've been hoarding it, and I'm not allowed to hoard everything. I have to do stuff with it. So I'm making this, and then I'm probably going to make, come on, 1/4 square triangles, but I don't know what I want to do yet for the other fabric. I feel like a white would be my best option, but I have to buy white fabric. And then if the squares are small enough, I'll be able to turn it into a tote bag. So maybe I'll find, like I have the grunge gray. If I have enough of that, I might do that. If I have, I don't think a black is gonna work for these. I think it'll be too dark. I don't want to use white 100% on a tote bag, but save all those curly Q papers, put them in a gallon-sized Ziploc bag. Since it's freezer paper-ish material, you can iron everybody flat. Just don't iron them to each other. It's kind of harder to take it apart. Now, just as a little of a heads up example, this is why I delete a lot of tips and tricks out of my videos, because if I get excited and I come up with an idea and I want to share it, it becomes overwhelming to people that think differently than me. Some of these line up perfectly and some of them don't, and I wonder if it has something to do with the width of the strips, you know, the end pieces. So yeah, I delete a lot, and I just make another video later on because I'm too much. I'm too much to handle for some people. It could be too much. Yeah, 1/4 inch is fine. It seems like when you do things that involve paper piecing, foundation stuff, they all want you to do less. Since now I have plenty of time, we are going to start working on an ad. So I'm going to sew for a second. I talk about it in the vlog coming up because I just edited the video yesterday. That's what I spent most of my day doing. I'm going to do on February 7th, it's my birthday. I will be 57. Yes, 57. I confused myself for a second. I'll be 57 on February 7th, and I'm going to do one of my live stream auctions where you know what I want to do? I want to take one of these and I want to keep it here so that I can see what the block is looking like, so that as I'm sewing things, I can double check and mix them up, or I don't know what I'm doing. You can also take freezer paper and iron a bunch together to make a good stack. You ate your sister's food. Don't you meow at me. Oh, you know what? You know what's going to happen to you? Come on. Look who I found. Who wants to love on Miss Mocha with me? Yes, I'm going to get cat fur on it, but everything will be lint rolled, and I'm trying not to make too much of a mess. So we give her a lot of love, and she's such a pretty colored cat. She's my big shedder, so I have to be careful with her. She's always been my sewing buddy ever since she was a kitten. She would like lay in the sewing machine and put her head in the bed, and she would also swish her tail when I'm using the rotary cutter. She made me so nervous as a kitten. You know what? Oh my goodness. Okay, here we go. These two go together. You can always restack everything to figure out where you're at. And I'm going to take all these two pieces and iron them all. And then if I need to, I can mix my blocks up some more, right? Oh, are you just that hungry? Would you just eat your food when it's given to you? She's such a nibbler. And then she like power eats in the morning. She's also a shoveler. She takes her mouth into the food like this, and then it just goes everywhere. The personalities. I don't understand how a different machine can be a different 1/4 inch. If you just put it in and you turn the machine on and you use the needle location, sure. But if you measure a 1/4 of an inch and figure out where it is, I don't see the difference. But, you know, I'm not a quilter. I'm not smart that way. Things don't make sense to me when people just say it. And I believe what everyone tells me, right? Because it doesn't matter. If Connie or Sue said, hey, Robin, I made 72 zipper pouches yesterday, I'd be like, congratulations. Doesn't matter if they lied to me, right? Or if they were misinformed and said, you can't do it that way. So whatever everyone says, I just believe it. And then if I go to do it myself, then I find my own way. So if they say every machine is not a 1/4 of an inch, then whatever. This one's great because you press the 1/4 inch button and it puts it a 1/4 inch. Then you can take an index card. The lines are a 1/4 of an inch apart on an index card. And then you can just, use that to adjust it, or you can draw lines on a piece of paper and figure out your 1/4 inch. Okay, now, again, on my birthday, we're going to do a live stream sale. I'm going to put a whole bunch of things into the shop, probably the Friday before, the 6th, and it'll be at a mega discount. And then Saturday morning, or maybe I'll do it Saturday morning. I don't know when I'll do it. Maybe I'll do it before I go to bed. I don't want to give a whole bunch of days ahead of time. I want everyone to have kind of a fair shot at it. But at the same time, not everyone's going to be there for the live stream. So I will show you what I have, and then you guys can just go to the shop and buy what you want. We've done that before. It's been kind of fun. Everyone seems to enjoy that versus just having a big sale and having to scroll through to see everything. So then you can just go through and grab it, and there'll be a significant discount. Not everything will be 50% off, but a lot of things will. And then on February 21st, which is the next live stream, we will start doing the foundation paper piecing. Excuse me. I just need time to actually do it so that I have a little muscle memory and I'm not just floundering, because I want you guys to actually kind of get a handle on it. And I did learn a technique on how to only use one paper and save it and use it over and over again. Jody eats breakfast that way? I really did not see that. You lost me on that one, Jody. Yeah, so that's what we're going to... Oh, the way Mocha does. You just put your face in the bowl and shovel it, right? Got it. I caught on. I always think like you guys are talking among yourselves and not reacting to what I say. That's funny. Yeah, so that's what we're going to do. We're going to do the live stream, and maybe I'll even set things up so that if like all of a sudden everything sells and you guys still want to hang out, maybe we'll package some orders up versus like not showing shipping labels, just bundling things. See, hey, what did everyone buy? Oh, I won't tell you who bought it, but I'll say, hey, this sold and these two went together. You know, whatever you guys want to do. But yeah, we'll start our journey on foundation paper piecing. I feel like we might need a standalone video so that it's not just a live stream for it. Sometimes in the past, I would put up a tutorial on Friday, and then on Saturday, we would do the live stream. This is like really feels thick and sturdy and stiff. But yeah, I'm removing the papers. You guys don't have to. Sew right through it, and then you won't have to worry about bias. Missouri Star is also thinking about bias, is why I'm going to mention this. Missouri Star gave me an option for some things in the upcoming month of February. They tell me what's going on the month before, and they give me options of events to join. Because they're calling it the creator program now, I think. So they gave me some options, and one of them is a drunkard's path 5-inch mini ruler. Which means I know how to sew a drunkard's path, but do you? Do you know how to sew a drunkard's path only using one pin? I do. That was one of the wacky things, because when I first started quilting, I didn't know that certain things were supposed to be complicated and difficult to do. I struggled with the easy aspects of things, the things that people didn't really show in their blog posts and stuff. That's where I got confused. So when I saw a circle, I love circles. It's one of my doodles that I do. So I thought, ooh, let's make circles. I didn't know I was supposed to be scared and didn't, I put all the 50 pins in like someone showed me in a blog post, and it was a pain in the butt. I hate pinning things. So I learned how to do it with 3 pins, and then I learned how to do it with 1 pin. So I'm like, hey, let's do it. So we're going to do a mini drunkard's path. First of all, I'm going to show off. I have to show off things at a specific time from Missouri Star. Hey, this is what I have. I showed it off. I made 1 block. Goodbye. See you later over on Instagram. And then on YouTube, I can do a longer, tutorial. And we can make an actual project. So there was a bunch of mini templates that I could choose from, but like apple core, I mean, that's fine and all, but I wanted to do something. Yeah, right, Becky? Like, I didn't know zippers are supposed to be hard. Oh, well, the only thing I found hard about zippers was I couldn't find a tutorial that worked for me to do the zipper tabs. I kind of have an idea on how to do them now. I've seen enough videos, and I'm smart enough with the experience. I find, okay, the end pieces, when they're skinnier like this, there's extra room. So you could easily pin this or clip it if you didn't leave the paper on or didn't have the paper. Do you guys remember my tree video? We did Christmas trees last month, I think, where I showed you how to line it up and then just cut on your own choices. You could do the same thing like that. I don't want to do it with this fabric because I want all of my blocks to be identical for the project afterwards. But you can just line your ruler up, and for straight lines, like I said, if you go 4 inches in on the top, go 4 inches down. Cut that one. If you want it wonky, go 3 inches in and go 5 inches down and have your numbers different. Look, we don't know what we like or don't like. I've calmed down a little bit. For you guys who have been here for a while, you know I suffer from chronic pain. I have nerve issues and neck issues and shoulder issues, and I take a pain pill at 11 o'clock in the morning. And I hadn't taken mine at 11 o'clock yet, so I tend to get a little agitated, a little frazzled. The brain doesn't work, but I feel very calm now because, you know, the pain that I didn't know I was feeling is less. I don't do well with like deep aches and pressure and stuff like that. So I really kind of struggle with those things. And it also helps with, because of the neck issues, I get these horrible headaches. So it takes a headache from a million, you know, or a 10 down to about, you know, a 5 or a 4. And I can function at that level because I've been doing it for so many years. So my apologies for crazy Robin, but I'm better now. I'm all calmed down now. I can associate with people again. See, you get what you get with a live stream. You never know. Maybe someone's had a bad week and you don't know. They've lost their puppy, or they lost grandma, or, you know, someone's really sick and they're worried about them. And until someone says something to you, you don't really know. So if someone's having kind of an off time or something, give them a little grace. I know grace, that phrase goes with religion a lot, but you can also just use it as a human and give everyone just a little bit of grace, you know? Have a little patience for them. Don't hug everyone. Not everyone needs a hug. Becky, I am 100% with you. I definitely don't think you and I should go to a retreat together, because I don't think it would be safe if we sat next to each other. And then we brought in some, because I think you're the one that goes to all the retreats. I think we brought in some of your wacky friends too. We could all be in trouble. I think it'd be fun to go to a retreat and, like, everyone bring fabric for this. Everyone bring, okay, Becky, you're bringing 10, you're going to bring 42 red 10-inch squares, or your colors are red and white. My colors are purple and yellow. And then Sue's got to bring green and orange or something. And then we all just like swap it around and then make this project together and see how everyone's quilts turned out. I kind of think that would be fun. I would enjoy that. I don't understand when people go to a retreat and put their head down and get all their projects done. I see why you would do that, just to get your projects done. But me, I feel like it's more like a party zone where everyone would hang out and swap ideas and share fabric and patterns. You know, whoa, that's a mess over there. I know there's like a swap table and stuff. You drop things off and pick things up and stuff. I feel like it would be just a big quilting party for me. I don't know how much I would actually get done. I would not be able to work on a project. You know, I could sew string blocks and patchwork and do stuff like that. I struggle enough doing what I do with you guys. I can't imagine doing a whole room full. You go to so many retreats. I mean, is it just called a retreat because it's a whole bunch of you, or do you like go somewhere? Are you like packing a suitcase, getting in your car and driving or flying? Connie, that sounds amazing, and I think it's brilliant. Nobody says you have to finish all of them, but if you put everything in one spot, I have all my quilt tops in a tub out in the garage. And that way I know where they all are. I have most of my UFOs in my Barney bin that I call it here in the room right behind me. My cats actually like to sit on plastic tubs, so they do that. Yeah, local 15. Okay, so you have like, we all call it like a retreat so everyone understands it, but you kind of like have a sew day, but you have several sew days. So do you come home every night, or do you spend it, if it's 15 minutes, I assume you come home. I think that would be fun. There was a place in Fort Myers. They were, it was open sew that you could go like every Thursday or something. But when I went to visit the shop, I tried to go on open sew days just to see the people sewing. And they were a little, I don't want to use the word snooty, but that would just be what I would tell my kids and they would understand. But you guys might understand that they are hardcore quilters. You know, they're entering all of their quilts in the local quilt guild and putting it in the show. And they believe 100% in the quilt police. And if they saw me sewing, they would probably not talk to me anymore and kick me out. Nice. That's a great idea, like at a VFW or something like that. I think that's a great idea. No wonder why you go so often. I thought, my goodness, that woman, ooh, she got a lot going on. And just like that, even with all the extra ramble and the messing of this, that, and the next thing, it's an hour and I have all my groupings sewn. My top's not done, but I have all my groupings sewn. And today I have my normal mixed berry water from Walmart, and I'm drinking, oh, my hand's shaky, a little sad plain ginger ale. I still have my Christmas ones. The cranberry is my favorite and the blackberry, but I try to mix it up occasionally. And I think I need the sugar rush this month because I've been reaching for a soda every day. It just hits the spot. I kind of just, you know, yeah. 2 months in a row, skip 1 month. Oh, that's nice. Yeah, the one I saw in Fort Myers probably about 5 years ago, it was like $5 a day to go for a couple hours when you started. And then over the years, I saw it went up to like $10 or something. And then you can go all day. You bring your own lunch. They don't provide lunch and stuff, but I thought that was really just kind of neat. But they weren't my people. And at that point, if I'm going to sew by myself and not talk to anyone, well, then I may as well just stay home, right? And that was the only quilt shop, and it was definitely a hole in the wall. Like the one where I took my sewing machine here, it was about that size. So it wasn't very big. All right, I'm going to go up to high volume on my iron. All right, there we go. Laura, I just feel like that might be something you would enjoy. I feel like that would fit what you do. All right, while the iron's heating up, let's take care of the mess so that Robin doesn't have a little mess attack. I'm not even going to, let me see, I'll do it. I'll do it. Don't yell at me. I heard Jody yelling at me. Did Jody yell at me? I heard it. Jody can yell at me because I can't do it. I can't do it. I just can't do it. I can't separate them out. So I'm going to do this. I'm just going to pick this up so we don't have eye clutter and we don't have stuff in the way. Karen Brown again. Oh, yeah. I got rid of all of my works in progress except for, like, I think I have, well, I'm not going to count the hat that's on the needles right now. I put a new hat on the needles every week or twice a week, so I'm not going to count that much as a work in progress. But I have a sweater and I think 2 shawls and Robbie's fingerless gloves that I work until 9 o'clock at night, and at that point I'm too tired to try to figure out the point at where I'm at. All right, I'm gonna put this in the bin. That's a future Robin's problem. All right, so now we're gonna iron all of these. Did I separate them all? Yes, I did. Such a good girl. Sewing machines are heavy. Yes, they would be. Some people do something like with my little brother's sewing machine. That's not heavy at all because it's all plastic. So for a retreat, you can have something like that. You can have a little small, people have like little retreat irons. Yeah, retreat iron. A retreat sewing machine, and they have like the little rolly carts and everything for them. And they usually have something smaller. I saw a lot of people take their, what are those old, you have to help me with words today, those old-fashioned singers, the metal ones with the gold writing on it, that sometimes they're electric and sometimes they're not. They take those. Oh, you can rent a machine? Well, that's helpful too. Oh yeah, for people that fly in. So if you fly in or drive in, it's not local, you can rent a machine. I'm making sure that even with the bias, it could stretch a little, but this one, the seam was, the fabric was folded over, so I need to make sure that I actually press everything over. I don't have steam in my iron, so it's got to do the work without it. And featherweight, there you go, thank you. I couldn't get past old-fashioned. Isn't a featherweight heavy though? I still have my grandmother's in a table. It's been sitting for a gazillion years, and it probably doesn't, I mean, it would work if someone worked on it. I just can't get rid of it, you know? I moved it from my house to storage to the kids to Arizona, and the tables needs to be refinished. The machine needs definitely belts and oils and probably a motor or something, I don't know, but I just can't get rid of it. Oh, just 11 pounds? That's not too bad. Is that still hot? Yeah, it's still hot. And then I'll stack these back. Do you like the way I just kind of pushing it over with my iron. Rule breaker. There was a lot that I trimmed off on it, so I feel confident in not being proper. I'm just reading. Oh, yeah, I heard. I had, like, I hear a lot of things about certain ones. Like, I had one of those $79 singers way back when and stuff. That was not buttery soft, nice stitches. Some people are like, oh, I love my old singer. And I'm like, I think it's got to be older than the one I had because I didn't love it. It was a very clunky machine. Oh, look, we haven't had. Or at least I do. Skip. Yeah. And then there's like what, Westinghouse or something? There's some really good old ones. I joined in on a free hand sewing quilt along several years ago, and I actually had a lot of fun just hand piecing the project. It went paid really quick, so I'm glad I got in when it was free and learned all of the different techniques because that was a really fun project. I like to be able to sit down at night and just do something relaxing. Missouri Star is sending me a new embroidery project that I'm kind of excited for. It's pre-printed, so I don't have to think about it. Let me just take out this paper here so I can kind of see what I've got going on. So that looks good. Because A and B and F, okay, E and F look like it's a different size. Could be about the same. This feels like these are Fs. Okay, so you see where this could be a problem by pulling off the papers and just sewing willy-nilly like I did? So I'm just going to put all of these together and then I'll see if they look different. Because if they don't look different, then it really doesn't matter except for color, which way I do it. And you guys are 100% right. I made so much extra work for myself. Okay, these all go like this. Because this is C and D. That's real easy to figure out. And then F is skinnier and A is bigger. So that's a benefit to see all the different ones. Did I do something wrong or do I have all? There we go. Here's the little guys. Okay, so now I just need to make sure that I have different fabrics. So there's that one. I know it's because I'm doing it in a more difficult way, but I really don't feel like this isn't, look, that's the same. 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 So I definitely got something a little mixed up. Are we surprised? Not at all. Not at all. I think I'm going to go with this so that I don't have the same corners on the edge. Okay, now number 2, we'll do this. Wow, Laura, that is really lucky. And then number 2 can be this. Oh, I guess to change this up, I could have changed up that. Oh, that's the whole thing, right? Hold on. Let's have a thought process here. If I put this one there, that will allow me to put that one. Look, see, they're all different. I did it. Whatever Dora says, Valmesimo or something like that, I don't know. So I'm going to put it over here so I can see. That's all different. So there's that one, and that one. Different, okay? And this is how I get myself in trouble, guys. This is how I get myself in trouble. Nope. 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 Don't mind me while I'm over here fixing my mistakes. You guys have fun. Oh, collecting sewing machines, now that takes up space. So we have this one and that one, and that one. So if we put that one, and that one, and that one. So if you have room to lay them all out, then you can lay them out and shift them as needed. I know that's not right, so just 1 second. Boy, I really messed that up. You know what? I'm going to cut things apart anyway. So I'm going to go with the theory of screw it. My apologies. Yeah, see, this, look at how much extra time it's taken me because I am a mess. I'm done. Now my attitude's back. Doesn't take much, see? Yeah, it's just, whenever I try to venture away from what is me and how I do things, I always end up getting in trouble. I'm like, hey, let's try something new. No, you don't like that food. Hey, let's try something new. No, that doesn't work for the way you quilt. So it's like I get caught up in the excitement of things and it sounds exciting and I don't check things and then I end up in trouble. But, okay, overall, I just saw myself have a hissy fit. Overall, in the end of things, right, I'm going to do half square triangle, quarter square triangle, something. I'll come up with a plan and I'll figure it out. And it's all going to get mixed up in the end, so it's not like a big deal. What did I just sew? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, I did right to left. Okay. I was doing left to right, and now I'm going right to left. Yeah. The yellow is quite loud, and it's really, especially like in the centers and stuff, it gets quite, see in that one, it's quite bold. But, and it's wide. If I were making a string quilt, I love the string quilts that have a common center. So when I saw how wide it was, I'm like, oh, that's great. But then I forgot we're using a layer cake. So it's like, what, and see, but again, it's going to get cut up. And once you start, okay, once I take this 7.5 inch block and it ends up down to like a, I don't know what the ratio, ooh, I really got the bias going on that one. Once the ratio, whatever it is, if a 7.5 inch block gets down to like a 5 inch block, it won't notice as much when you sew a bunch of them together. So if you want to be really particular, I think the original string block way is the best way. I would just measure my layer cake and just cut. I'm going to stay long enough to sew these together. I will trim one more, and then I'm going to do the layer cake the way I want to do the layer cake, and we'll go from there like I did in the very beginning. If you hit at, hi Giovanna, if you hit like at Giovanna, if Giovanna's in the chat, her name will pop up, and then you can talk to them that way. If you try to talk to Sally Joe and she left a chat 10 minutes ago, her name won't pop up, so you can't like at her, which is what it's called, and it just sounds dumb to say that, but. So now, again, I'm not poo-pooing on the project itself. I'm just saying that I have a scattered brain, and projects that are very organized and linear do not work with my scattered brain. So if someone were to send me these papers, I would use them, but I'm going to use them the way I originally did before I read the directions, and I'm just going to stack everything up and I'm going to whack it, and then I'm going to go from there. Because for my brain being scattered, having everything, while I like organization in my storage, I don't like it when I'm actually sewing, like the fabrics. I like to keep everything in bins and have everything separate. If I were to do an entire quilt of this, I would have 6 little bins, or, you know, the wherever I put that gray bin, this one. I would line up 6 of these bins, and each one would have a piece of fabric in it with a label on it, because on these you can write with an erasable marker or even a Sharpie, because it comes off with like alcohol or something. So you can write on there and then label each one, and then I'd be fine. But just putting things on the table, I get too twisted and chaotic. It doesn't work for me. So Giovanna, what we're doing is we're following the directions, and Robin and directions don't do well together. We are using the paper strips quilt paper from Lori Holt of Bee in My Bonnet, 1448. It's down below in the description box, but we are discussing on different ways to use it if you happen to live in a country that you can't buy these, you don't want to buy them, or you bought them once and you don't want to buy them again. It'll all work out in the end. And then eventually you'll see this project. And what's kind of fun with the vlogs is in the past, I would just make something and you'd see it on Whip It Wednesday. Now there's a good chance that you'll see snippets of me making something. Even it's not going to be a tutorial where I show you everything. Excuse me. But you'll see a little bit of my process. Right now you've seen coasters and possibly zipper pouches or something, but you know, you've already seen that. In other ones in the future, you might see me, like with my patrons, you might see me choosing fabrics and discussing why I chose this fabric over that, or what I'm looking for, and then I might tell you more of the process than my vision, because I can't get my vision out of my head to everyone very easily. Yeah, you have to do it on, definitely on a laptop. It doesn't work on like the phones and stuff. Yeah, things don't always work on the phone that way. I learned that a bit ago when I saw everyone doing it. I really got scared for a second. I had no idea what was going on here. All right. Now, I'm going to pay attention and not be talky, and I'm going to, see, we went from the top to the bottom, so we want bottom to the top, bottom to the top, the bottom to the top. Sometimes saying it over and over to myself works. Sometimes my own voice gets me in trouble. All right, so I'm not even going to press these because I don't feel like it. I like to watch on my small tablet. I have just a little one, and then not like an Apple or anything, just, I think it's an Android, something cheap from Amazon for like $100. And then when I want to comment, because it's a pain in the butt to comment on that tablet, I just pull my phone out and I comment on my phone. I'm gonna go like this. Leave it there, Robin. Take the left to the right to the sewing machine. Line it up here. Normally I'd have my big table out, but I'm already crowded for space. Are we having fun yet? Just kidding. Like you said, in the end, it's all going to work out. And no matter how you do it, it's going to end up, right? It's going to end up being a string block. This helps because you're using a layer cake and all the fabrics are from one line, so they're meant to go together. And even if they're from multiple lines, somebody curated it to go together because they know color theory and I don't, and they say this all goes together. So it's like, great, I don't have to think about it. So you can find your way around the process to something that works for you. As a new quilter or crafter, I always suggest, even like cooking in the kitchen, unless you know you hate broccoli, don't put the broccoli in the recipe, right? Otherwise, I like to follow the recipe as it's meant to be the first time, follow the quilt pattern as it's meant to be if I possibly can, and then I can adjust and change based on how I create and make something a little bit different. The colors are really fun. It's from a layer cake. It's Marcus Fabrics Primo Batiks. So it has all of these like rainbowish colors, but in the batiks with all the designs on them and stuff. You're cooking bacon. Forget the broccoli, right? I have bacon in the freezer. I think about it all the time, but I have yet to take it out and cook it. Sometimes I'll be making something, I'll be like, ooh, bacon would have been good with this. My fault for taking the entire package of bacon and throwing it in the freezer. Normally I buy turkey bacon, I cook it up in the oven, bake it in the oven, and then I put it in the freezer, because turkey bacon is fine in the freezer. I can just pull out a piece or two, heat it up in the microwave for a few seconds and like put it on a burger or something. Regular bacon, I like to take the slices raw and freeze them individually raw and then put them in a Ziploc bag. And that way I can just pull out one or two pieces whenever I feel like it, and I can cook it to the crispy level that I like. Yeah, whatever device you're on is going to remember what you do. So like if you go up into, like if I go up into the search engine and search my own channel, it's going to pop up at the top just after a couple of letters. And it's not because like, ooh, Robin's so popular, YouTube knows who she is. No, my computer just remembers, so it has that memory in there. You're totally meat forward. No, I'm still pretty much a flexitarian. I do eat meat, but I eat a lot more vegetarian type meals. Meat is a supplement to me, a little additive on the side. It's not usually the main thing, unless of course I'm having a steak or a burger. I forgot to take stuff out of the freezer. I was gonna make beef cubes something or another. I freeze a bunch of beef cubes. I buy them at Sam's Club because it tends to be cheaper for a huge packet. I separate it out into smaller bits, and then I treat it in recipes like, what is it, beef tips or something? Because that's really kind of what it is, just different. Similar, but the same. So if I want to have a little bit of like beef in with rice or something like that. Hi, Linda. I would like it if my phone would remember didn't versus don't. It switches that all the time. It's driving me crazy. Yeah, but I would have to definitely undercook the bacon. I mean, I could do that, obviously, because I want mine to be a certain crispiness, but not over crisp. So that's why I like to freeze individual strips, and then, because you can cook them frozen. Or you can put it on a paper towel in the microwave for a few seconds to thaw it. All right, we have blocks. I forgot the name. If you look up the purple flower thread cutter, Queen, quilting queen, crafting queen. Oh my goodness. I usually just, whatever I think of, I search it, and Google knows me enough or figures it out. They just do it. Carnivore, estimated my arthritis get issues, condition more. Yeah, I struggle with meat in my gut though. That's why I do the other way. It's not clover. Gypsy queen, gypsy quilter, gypsy quilter. This one's a gypsy quilter. I get there. Sometimes it just takes me a minute. That's why a lot of times in my recorded videos, I usually get it right unless I catch it in the edit. If I catch it right away and I can't think of a name, I just sit here and I ponder it and I ponder it. And if I think of it, I'll figure it out, or I'll just Google it. Yeah, exactly. Just that's why I like the stew beef. I don't have to buy the Sam's Club has pretty good prices for it. They also have pretty good prices on roasts. I told Justin, I said, him and I, we should go in on a good meat slicer. I had a meat slicer. My daughter bought me one, but unfortunately, I didn't think about it, and I put it in storage in Florida, and it was air conditioned storage, so I didn't think I'd have to worry about it, but the gasket broke. Not the gasket, the belt that made the motor go broke, and they didn't have any replacements. So I passed it on to someone else. I put it on the side of the road. Someone picked it up. They can take it up somewhere and figure out what they need. I'd like to get a bigger, heavier duty one versus just the little wee ones that don't do much, where you have to cut the roast in half to fit it on there. And then we can have roast beef, because roast beef is very expensive to buy in the deli. And Justin has to have low sodium stuff, so if we cut our own meat, then he can have his low sodium. One of these had flip pieces. So you see they press one way and then they press the other just kind of naturally, because I always press to the smaller, shorter piece. Crock pot, yeah, Justin uses his crock pot a lot. I don't as much anymore because it's just me. So even though it's the 3/4 of us when Mandy was here, we all make our own food. I thought about getting a small crock pot, but then I thought about what I eat, and I don't really need one. I have a Dutch oven. So if I want something, low and slow, I can put it on the stove top or in the oven. Sometimes you just have to think while ironing. So I'm sorry about whatever you guys are chatting about. If I missed anyone, remember I didn't announce it earlier, but to catch my eye, if you just put it in all capitals if you need me for something. Otherwise, enjoy chatting with your quilty friends. I'm just here as a way for you guys to all gather together and have a little something. Darn blooms look just like the first one. Oh, a muslin butcher, yeah. When the kids were younger, we thought about getting cows and stuff. A little bit harder in Florida. Not, impossible, but it's a little bit different. The blocks, they all look the same. Yeah, well, it's all about, remember, this one only has 6 fabrics, so these all look the same. I would want to do a whole layer cake. Again, for what I'm doing, I'm not that worried about it. Even for a whole quilt, they would kind of move around and stuff. So let's trim one up, and we'll worry about the rest of these. I'll take care of them after. And I want to just cut up the rest of that layer cake so that we can look at it and do it a little bit differently. You can do the same process. I would put the paper, remember you're supposed to put the paper on all 42. Then cut all 42. Then do that whack and stack rotating thing. So what I do is I line up the 2 seams there that I stitched. Just give it a little finger press. because I kind of want to find the center. I'll put my center line on that center fold, and then I need 7.5. So I just need to slide it in one way or the other until 7.5 and 7.5 are on there. And then find my rotary cutter. Because like all the way down here, the corner is in under my ruler, but I only need 7.5, so none of that matters. So then I cut off this. And I have my little scrap bin. A lot of it's going to get thrown away. Like this little yellow piece, I'm not going to save that. But I have like, this is a significant yellow piece for me for fabric postcards. So I might take this and just trim it even with this red one and then do my thing. Oh, I grew up on a farm. So that... we butchered our own animals and all of that, so none of that is unusual to me. I was actually part of the process. Even I was 13 when I moved to Florida, but I was still, prior to that, we had different sections of animals. Like if you were 8 years old, you can go and do like the chickens and turkeys, but you had to be 13 to be around the cows and the pigs because it's a little more dramatic. Because you're actually, you're killing your pets and stuff like that. And the animals are bigger and it's more dangerous. And we weren't allowed to watch them be, the big animals because there was either weapons involved or, the different ways that you would take an animal's life. You know what I mean? Okay, so then you would just... you make your quilt. There's a sashing in between them with the little cornerstones and all of that. Yeah, we went a couple years without an oven. It was no big deal. We had one of those roasters on the side and stuff. That was even before air fryers. So there you go, right? It's a string block. Makes your sections different widths if you want to have it look a little varied. And if you want to have it all the same, make them all the same width. And then I do have a playlist of string blocks, I think, or at least I know I have a bunch of videos, and they won't match up. No matter which way so the seams won't match up. But let's do it Robin's way. They do need to be stacked up neatly, right? So we got one. I know I can do 8 comfortably with the 60 millimeter. So I'm going to stack just 8. And then, I don't know how many I did. That's probably 4. So if you're just taking them off of the layer cake, just stack up a bunch that stopped counting. So we're just going to do what we're going to do, and we'll live with my consequences, right? I think that's, maybe 8 is what I do with the small rotary cutter. I've made cookies and stuff. We used to have one of those, like a red Betty Crocker pizza, where you just like close the lid and it made a pizza, but you can make pies and cookies and everything in it. So when we didn't have our oven, I made it in there or in the toaster oven and stuff like that. It all works. All right, so move that over there. I need a paper. So if you don't have freezer paper, you can use glue stick to put your paper down, right? And then it would hold it onto that first piece of fabric. So the whole point of this paper is to put one piece of paper on each of your layer squares, your layer cake pieces, right? I really would suggest the glue stick. You could put pins in it, but pins kind of make things shift a little bit and buckle. So I do recommend just putting a little glue stick down. So you're going to iron this on every piece of paper, every layer cake. One paper, there's 42 in the pack, and there's 42 of the fabric. So you would put it on all of them and leave the paper on and sew it back together after you mixed it up. Go down one, go down two, you know, however you want to do it in stacks or mix them all up. Because then you can just like whoosh, 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 mix them all together and then just do whatever. Whatever works for your brain, right? Because remember, Robin's got issues. And then we put it back on here. And then we take our larger rotary cutter. And we be really careful. You don't have to be super precise. Just be careful because, you know, you got a stack of fabric here. Oh, nice. Microwave and oven. And then if it's a big stack, use the 60. When it's new, make sure everything stays tight, but I find after a few weeks, it didn't come loose anymore. I go a little bit in and then go backwards to start with, because I feel like if I start here, I'm just pushing the fabric. So if I just make a little cut back, and then I'm going through that paper, so it sounds so scary. And then there's my whole stack of Fs. And then I would cut this section. Now I know what I can sew in the evenings. I can sew this stuff. Before I go any further, don't go any further, Robin, where's your stuff? I'm going to, watch this. All right, don't come for me, I'm being smart today. I caught up. I'm going to put a clip on that, so all of those are an F. And that's the order that I cut them out. Well, the paper will dull the rotary cutter. The paper will dull the rotary cutter just a little bit, but a while ago I used to have, I have them labeled on the back. I write like paper and fabric and denim and whatever, and I would use like an older blade, but I have a lot of problems with my shoulder. I had 3 surgeries on my right shoulder, and it's not the strongest. So I've decided that either I buy rotary cutter blades a little more often, or I'm in pain with my shoulder and my shoulder wears out. I'd rather cut through one piece of paper with a rotary cutter. It does dull it, yes, but I am cutting, yes, I'm cutting through multiple times, but I'm cutting through paper once, 6 times. I'll put it all to that side. I guess it doesn't matter. So it's personal preference, right? There's nothing saying you can't. But if I were to be cutting out thick paper and not getting my big slicer out, my paper cutter, yeah, I might use an older blade and then change it after I'm done or something. But this is a brand new blade. This is a brand new gold blade. Ooh, it's so fancy. But I listened to those rules and I did what I was told, and then I decided it just doesn't matter that much. Well, I don't want to turn anyone off on the product, you know what I'm saying? Just because it doesn't work for me. Okay, let's think about the whole quilting thing, right? I don't wash my fabrics. I hate washing my fabrics, and I like how crispy they are brand new. I don't see the point of washing my fabrics to make a zipper pouch. If I was concerned about a quilt, yeah, I might wash something. But there's also ways to, what is it? It's not retinol. I've been watching too many pimple popping videos. It's like retinol A or something. There's something that you put and you soak your fabric in it and wash it in it, and it sets the dye so it doesn't run. But I like the crispiness of unwashed fabric, and I just deal with the bleeding if I have to, right? I know like this yellow shouldn't bleed, but maybe a deep dark red would. So you just have to make decisions. So not everything is for everyone. I will sew through my fabric postcards through a comic book board and not change my needle and sew a zipper pouch. I don't care. If I'm sewing through, if I'm making a quilt, then I might be a little bit more particular. And because I'm going through just 2 pieces of fabric, I know it's a little more important. But just for what I do, I don't change my needle until it needs to. I'll use my rotary cutter on paper. I try not to use my best scissors on paper because I have so many other options, but there's something for everyone is all I'm getting at. This might be what an organized brain needs, right? I'm just not that person. So that's why I don't want to scare anyone off from it, because what if this is what you need to make a quilt? I want everyone to be successful, right? So then there's my stacks. Now you can like rotate through and stuff like that. I'm not going to do it with these because I want to do these still. I have these, and then I can like mix them all up. So I think what I'll do is cut the squares that I've already made. And go from there. I'll use it. You know, I think putting one piece on top of a stack and cutting it like that, that's how I would use those papers. I don't, for me, putting them on each individual layer cake square, well, that was hard to say each time. I wouldn't put it on each individual fabric like we did for these. I don't think that's the best use of it for me. Everyone's different. I think it's great if you struggle with bias and you're new and you're just trying to learn different things. And then when you're done, you can decide what works for you and what doesn't. Sometimes I have to go all the way up like this. 7.5 and 7.5. With the different sizes and stuff, I just want the center to be kind of even. I really probably don't even need to fold it in half. I can just estimate it. But for me, I kind of want to do that. We all work differently, right? We process thoughts differently. We have different history. Like if you've been quilting for 30 years and you do things a certain way, then, you know, some things have to work with the way you do things. I change my sewing machine needle when it goes clunk, 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 clunk. Oh, I like that sound. When it does that, I've sewn enough that I can feel when my needle's getting dull. Sometimes I just put my finger underneath it and poke myself and see how sharp it is. If it's still sharp, I'm going to keep sewing. If you're having skipped stitches and there's some kind of, you know, like you're having issues sewing and stuff, then, you know, the changing your needle is one of the things that you should do. Let's just do this without it. See how much trouble we'll get into. 7.5, 7.5. Considering I'm going to cut these again for the quarter square triangles, I don't really think it matters if my center is a center. By folding it, there's the same amount of space here as here. So whatever this measures and this measures, they should be the same on both sides. And I don't think mine are. Oh no, I did good. Because even folding it doesn't mean I'm going to get it right. When you're doing a quilt with the center color, I feel like that's more important because you want them all to line up. But otherwise, who cares? New food pyramid. I don't think we learned about the food pyramid. I don't think the kids learn about any of that stuff. They learn about Chick-fil-A, McDonald's, Target food court or something. Remember how exciting it was? I don't know about you guys, but we used to get really excited to be able to go to the mall. We used to go to the Edison Mall in Fort Myers, and then you get stuff at the food court. They had the A&W little food court place there, and they had the little corn dog nuggets. Those were really good. Even when Rob and I, we were first together in the early 90s, so long ago, we would go there a lot and just wander around the mall because it was free, right? And even with the kids and stuff, we'd go and then we would take them someplace like that, and we'd get a big old bunch of this and that and fries and stuff and let them have a treat. And we'd spend however long. The kids got exercise. Of course, we took them to the park to get them outside. But on hot, humid, rainy days and stuff, we used to go to the mall all the time. Yeah, we used to go to the mall all the time, right? See, now, Jackie, that's what you need to do, right? Because there's that chemical on there. I find even with my issues with my hands and stuff with so many things, thankfully, knock on wood, that fabric dyes and finishes and stuff isn't one of my issues. I moved my ruler because it's not a creative grid. There's no grippies under it. And before you mention it, I tried the different grippies and the medical tape and all of that, and I just don't like it. And then it makes my ruler feel like raised up and different. For the 12.5, it's fine. It's whatever, right? I just have to make sure I put enough pressure down. But I do like the creative grids because they have those bathroom window type places, you know, that little frosted area on it. And it makes it helpful. See, just eyeballing it has been working pretty well. So like I could go all the way up and then it would be off. So I'm trying to just stay in the center still when I move it. They definitely gave us plenty of extra room, making it a 7.5. If you look at it, I could probably get a 7 3/4 for most of these blocks. And sometimes when I'm making things, I'll do that. But math quilt doesn't evolve around 7 3/4. Even a 7.5 would be wrong. I would, Jody, but I'm thinking to calm down some of the craziness to incorporate that gray, white, or I don't think I'm going to use a black. I'm really leaning towards, let me show you. Oh, shit. Oops, sorry. I swore. Apologies. It just came out of my mouth. Here's the gray that I have, my favorite Moda Grunge. So let me finish cutting this square. My sister that passed away a few years ago, she used the F-bomb constantly. That was like her thing. But if I say it, my kids know. My kids know. Tree nuts and cinnamon. Oh my goodness, that's hard. All right, so we have this, right? Get out of my way. Get out of my way. Out of my way. I'm not going to do it right. But what I was thinking is if I had a 1/4 square triangle like that, right? Yeah, no, my brain's not going to do it. But if we have, y'all know where I'm going, right? Where's 7.5 inches on this darn thing? Just bear with my brain. I do weird things. Okay, 7.5 inches is here and here. I have to look up again how, I have an idea in my head on how to make a 1/4 square triangle, but it's been a while and I like to recheck just to make sure. 7.5. All right. There's our 7.5 inch square. It's not the right numbers. It's not the right idea, but we'll get there. Anyway, whatever. Sometimes things work the way I'm thinking, sometimes they don't. Sometimes I just make something up. Like, what if I did that? I think the gray goes good with these colors is all I'm getting to. Now I'm going to go a little crazy here, right? Look, if you're going to go crazy, go all in sometimes. So sometimes maybe you want to try something. Again, I have to look it up to see how it goes, but anyway, yeah. You would use black on this or orange? To see the colors, to see if what I like, I'll usually just go like this. I'll take 2 different main center fabrics. Oh yeah, we had to take 2 bites of everything over. Actually, well, growing up, we had to eat everything on your damn plate because I spent good money on it and you're going to eat everything I put on that plate. And they chose what went on the plate for you. My daughter was a picky eater, so I let her choose. She had to have everything on her plate, but she only had to have 1 or 2 bites. We never put like this much food on it and say take 2 bites. We would just put 2 little plops on it and they had to eat everything on their plate. And then if we're like going through a buffet, then they would choose what they wanted. But if we're just having dinner, then they had to have a little bit of everything. I really didn't like it. We had a family member that when my daughter was younger, maybe 8 years old, they would take her plate, go to the kitchen, fill it up with dinner, and give it to her. And my daughter is kind of like Mocha, because Mocha's her cat. She grazed throughout the day. She still does it as a 30-something. She doesn't always sit down and eat a whole meal. She's too fidgety, even now as an adult. She got a little bit of me in her sometimes too. So she'll eat a little bit, and then she'll go out and do something, and then 3 hours later she'll eat some more of what she'll probably just take her dinner plate right back out of the fridge, warm it up or eat it cold, eat some more, put it back, and come day later. But that family member filled her plate like she was a 16-year-old football playing boy, and then screamed and yelled at her when she didn't eat everything on her plate. Well, I knew she didn't like this, and this was too much, so you know, it just, kids are people too, is all I'm saying. Kids are people too, right? Yeah, my kids eat and run, eat and run. But that's what I'm not going to do. I'm going to make quarter square triangles with this fabric, but I have to remember how to do it. I'm pretty sure it's take this fabric, cut a 7.5-inch square, put it on there, sew around, and chop it like that. So it'll be like a half square triangle, but smaller. So this is not going to be small enough to make a tote bag. I don't like big chunks. I like one big 12.5-inch block on a tote bag, but I don't want a bunch of 7.5 because tote bags are, to start out with, they're like 16.5 inches or 18.5 inches, and 7 inches does not work with those numbers. I mean, yeah, I can make a 14, but it would just be a 4-patch, you know what I'm saying? It's not going to work. So that's the plan. I might even have enough of that gray. It might have a few different grays because if I don't have enough of that gray, then I'm not buying anything else. You'll hear me rambling about it in the studio blog coming up, but I'm not buying fabric in February. Like in January, I bought fabric. February, I'm not going to buy fabric. I have other things to purchase. So even just like this, if you have a whole bunch of random 10-inch squares, you can go ahead and stack them up like I did here. You know, put one paper on it, stack them up and cut them all identical in groups like that, and then you can mix and match them into string blocks. So that way all the string block sizes are the same, but each section is different, because that's how this one is. If this doesn't work for you, then use 2.5-inch strips and just make whatever size sometimes you have to figure it out, right? If you're like, I want to have a random, I want an 8.5 inch square. Well, an 8.5 inch square is going to finish at 8 inches. If you were to use jelly roll strips, you would use 2, 4, 6, 8. You would only have 4 strips. I struggled with the math block sizes for so long until I saw someone say, hey, I saw a blog post and they say this is what it is. And I talk about it in some of my videos when we did quilt blocks. Take your block size, 8.5 inches, right? So whatever your finished block size is, if it's an 8.5 inch block, you take that 1/2 inch off. And then you figure out what you're going to make, 2, 4, 6, 8. So I can make 4 2-inch blocks in that 8 inches. And then you add that seam allowance back in. I don't know if that works for your brain, but I now know that I need to cut 2.5 inch squares to fill in that 8.5 inch block. I don't know. That just worked for me when someone said it that way. I'm like, oh, now it makes sense. I gotcha. Because I was like, well, if I'm going to have a 2.5 inch and it's going to finish at 2 and I have to add in a quarter here and a quarter there and a quarter here and a quarter there, I just got lost. So all that to say is keep watching videos until you find the one that clicks for you. So if you have to watch 45 videos on how to sew a zipper pouch until that one person says that one little small phrase of words, there you go. Oh, zipper pouches. We're going to do zipper pouches. I don't know if I set a date yet. Did I say when we're going to do the zipper pouch live stream? Let's do the zipper pouch live stream. Oh no, Giovanna, that's a full month of bills. Okay, I'm going to bring this down. I'm down to very few Post-it notes. I keep some on here all the time. If I get Etsy orders and they're at like 10 o'clock at night, I take this sticky note and I put it on the table so I know, hey, don't forget you got to do Etsy orders today. And then I put it back up. And then at the month end, I remind myself, I put the sticky note on the table, I have to do month end. And my phone bank charger got a recall on Amazon, so I have to fix that. So that's what those sticky notes are if you're curious. But, so February, we're gonna live stream on Saturday, we're gonna do the live sale for my birthday. And then on the 21st, we'll start doing the foundation paper piecing. But in March, we can do 1 day or 2 live streams of zipper pouch. Does that sound good? You watch zipper pouches for 4 hours? I do it all the time, Jackie, because you never know when something new is going to come up. Sometimes when I'm sewing, I just Google scrappy quilt as you go, tote bag, zipper pouch, whatever, and I let them run in the background while I'm going. Ooh, dental bills. All right, so let me know, do we need 1 live stream or 2 for zipper pouch tutorial? We can always make a decision on, if we do it March 7th, we can make a decision if we need to do it again, right? So I'm going to put it right on here. I like this color. This is just a fun color. It's not red, it's not purple. I don't know if it's not magenta. It's just a fun color. So we're going to do the zipper pouch tutorial. That should give you guys plenty of time to get your fabric and your zippers and either batting, fusible fleece, interfacing foam, whatever you're going to use. I'm just going to use fusible fleece. My plan is to make several patchwork zipper pouches ahead of time. Instead of just, I don't want to just have the plain fabric ones don't sell as well in my shop unless it's a specific fabric. So I want to make a bunch of patchwork ones because we're not going to learn how to make the fabric part of the zipper pouch. We're totally doing zipper installation. Look, it's the 7th, 2 months in a row. I remember now, February and March tend to be the same month when it comes to the days. Just because February's short, it doesn't set it off. So make sure you have the zippers and whatever size pouch you're going to make. We're not doing zipper tabs, we're just doing robin zippers. So if you think you're going to make an 8-inch pouch, then make sure your zippers are 9, 10, 12 inches long. You want them to be longer. It's going to make it easier for you. Maybe write down your questions. If you have questions about zippers and you already know, like, Robin, I need you to show me this part of it. Send me an email. They're down below in the description box so I can write them all down and make sure I show those parts. Because if you're not here on the live stream, you're not going to be able to ask the questions. So if you have questions ahead of time, submit them, and then we'll do it on March 7th. And that should give everyone plenty of time to go to a thrift store and get zippers, to go to Hobby Lobby, Michael's, online, wherever it is you're going to buy some zippers. Maybe buy a couple extra ones. So if you make a oopsie, you'll have another one to make. I'll probably make, like, I don't know, 10, 12, 15 zipper pouches so that I can show you, like, if I show someone how to sew this part, that pouch is done now. I have to show the next part in a different pouch. So I'll have a whole bunch made up. I like to go to the home page and just hit the little above it. It says like quilting. I'll just click quilting or sewing or something like that. Or I'll just type in some random words that have to do with quilting and sewing and just see what comes up. What size, what? Zipper? Any size you want. My zippers are 14 inches. I'm going to make, for me, I'm probably going to make zipper pouches before they're sewn together, the quilted pieces. I'll probably make mine 10.5 by 8 or 10.5 by 6.5, just 9.5 by 6.5, just because that's the size I like to make, depending on if I cut out 1.5 inch squares, 2.5 or 3.5. For you guys, just take a piece of plain fabric for your front and your back and 2 lining fabrics. Just stick with something super simple, because we're just going to talk about the zippers. If you have like a quilt block you want to turn into a zipper pouch, that's a different story. For those of you that mostly know how to do it, you're just stuck on that one little spot. I get a lot of questions when you're sewing over the zipper. How do you lay the zipper pieces to sew over it? I never thought, I did that a few times, but I never thought to show it all the time. So we'll do things like that. So the size of your zipper pouch doesn't really matter, because you're going to need to have 4 pieces of fabric, front and back outer, 2 lining pieces. And if you only have batting at home, I would say to take your front and back pieces and quilt them. So if you're going to a thrift store to buy zippers, buy your zipper and then come home. I would suggest, if you're saying, Robin, just tell me what size zippers to buy, I would say buy 12-inch zippers. 12 to 14-inch zippers. And I'd buy 2, 4, however many you want. That gives you time to order them from Amazon or Etsy, or I get mine from Zip It on Etsy. So I would get 12 to 14-inch zippers. Number 3 is a pound sign and a 3. If you need me, I will show you specifically on Etsy. Just email me and I'll say, buy these. But I would buy 12 to 14-inch zippers, because a little bit of a bigger pouch is easier to sew than a small pouch. I usually just say whatever, but my apologies. I forget that my make do whatever mentality doesn't work for everyone. So I would go with that. Does that sound good? Yeah, zips from old bags. We're not going to do anything fancy. Don't get the fancy, expensive $25 a yard fabric. Just get 2 fat quarters. You'll have enough for the front and the back and the linings. Stick with, when you first start doing a project, stick with basics. Don't buy anything fancy. until you know you can make it, because you don't want to spend $25 a yard on fabric that's 10 years old and you can't buy anymore and you only have a fat quarter of it or something, and now you're going to cut it and then it's wrong. Oh, I used to save the zippers from like backpacks and everything before. I don't do it anymore because I buy 200, 500 zippers at a time. I will save a good zipper though. That's perfect, Laura. 10 cents. Yeah, I've had some of those zippers. Oh, and buy nylon zippers. Nylon zippers. The metal ones can be used, but we're going to learn on nylon because it's easier. The metal zippers, it's more of a zipper tape, the little tabs and stuff, and there's a way, because you're not going to cut through them as easily. You're not going to sew through them. So nylon zippers. The zippers are just really old. Make sure your zippers go like this. Zzz, zzz, zzz. If they go, then try putting a bar of soap on it or some Dawn dish soap or something and see if it'll loosen it up. But you want your zipper pouch to zipper. Yeah, I go to thrift stores and I look at the jewelry and I look at the bags because I want to see if I want to save the handles, because those like wooden handles and leather wrapped handles can be really expensive. So if they're in good shape, I will spend a little bit of money on a bag. I'm not going to spend a lot of money. If you're taking off handles or zippers to reuse, you don't want the bag to cost more than the sum total of what you're taking from it. But sometimes you'll find like a really cool beaded parrot or something on a bag, and the bag is kind of falling apart. Well, I'll take that and then rescue that embroidery or beading and turn it into something new. And don't use the metal ones, Laura. You can use them, but we want success. We want the best process and success. We want to leave in March on the 7th with at least a zipper sewn in, right? Because the rest of it, I'll show you how to sew up the sides and stuff, but really the rest of it's done, right? Once you get the zipper and anything to do with the zipper. If you need help with anything else, then if we're done with zippers, we'll do that on the next live stream, or I'll make a video. I have so many zipper pouches in my zipper pouch playlist that you should be able to find each step in there. I've never gone through and made a tote bag or a zipper pouch, I don't think, from beginning to end, because it's always been about putting the zipper down a little, or putting a vinyl window, or making it with salvages, or making it quilted. It's usually a project versus, I do have 2 videos that do coin pouches that are start to finish, but never, I kind of just like show you something new every time I make a zipper pouch. Thrift stores are crazy now. The metal ones can be fun if you have a zipper pouch and then the zipper for the metal one is right here versus up here. So you have a zipper up here and then you put that nice pretty metal one right here. There's also a technique. Let me get a zipper. We have now joined into the extra chatty part of today's live stream. Come on, Leash. Okay, I do have a bunch of lace zippers too. Everyone, including Missouri Star, has sent me lace zippers, and I just haven't used them enough to really have the muscle memory for doing them. Let me put this down here out of the way. So there are techniques. You can add, I just put it in my shop. Do you remember when we learned how to put the bias tape on that rainbow pouch where we put the zipper a little bit further down from the top, and I showed you how to put the bias binding on the inside? You can add bias binding on the top of your fabric here or on the zipper. Now, if all you have is white zippers and you want to put it in this really fun and funky pouch, you can put fabric on the zipper tape area here and you would have this, right? So it would cover up that white. So maybe you might have this gray. I need a gray zipper. I don't have a gray zipper. If I use a white zipper, it's going to look funky, but I can put gray fabric on the zipper tape here. I know it's confusing because I think it's called zipper tape. So this right here, but I think this is right here might be called the zipper tape part of it. But you can cover up this white with maybe a black and white stripe. That would be fun in a zipper pouch. Yeah, we're going to work on the zipper with the plastic ones first. This is going to make it so much easier to sew it in. Who's on a leash? Oh, me? I'm on a leash. Yeah, I'm on my leash. This is my leash. I got like 100 feet of this cord that's plugged into my phone to go with my microphone. So this is a skinny part that I can just plug into the phone and use it like on walks. But around here, to be able to wander around, I have to have a big leash. And I wrap it around something a few times where I keep it for Whip It Wednesday videos when you're looking, you know, right at me and I'm talking. I wrap it around there so I don't accidentally pull a phone over because, you know, I've done that before. Yeah, if you get the number 5 zippers, now please don't trust me on these numbers. I think this is a number 3. A number 5 or a purse zipper has wider fabric here. So if this is wider fabric, then I can just sew with my regular foot because I would be able to just truck right along on the wider fabric. It's narrower fabric, so I have to use my zipper foot. Now, if your sewing machine just has that 1/4-inch foot that's really narrow, like some of the fancier Jukies and Berninas and stuff, you won't even need a zipper foot. But if you're using one of these universal feet, this is so wide, I could still do it. I just need to move my needle all the way over because then it's going to ride right along that zipper. So your needle needs to be far enough over because the anatomy of a zipper, when we look at it, one second, my nose is itching. Okay, when you look at it, let's see if we can see better on this side. Right here above my thumbnail, there's this line that goes right along it, and that's where you're supposed to be stitching. So you're supposed to stitch. This one doesn't show it very well. Let me see what I have in the other colors. I think we can see it on this one. I can't zoom in. I can only bring it into your face. Right here, it looks a little different right here. That's where you're supposed to stitch on it. So however you can get your needle there and your foot goes along here, then that's right there where you're going to stitch. Can you see how it's different right there? It's like 1/4 inch. I make so many small things now that I no longer can tell what 1/4 inch looks like. I see 1/4 inch and I'm like, wow, that looks huge. Noise wants food. Uh-oh. Oh, that sounds fun, Jackie. I like some of the fun fabrics and stuff, but again, for me, I find that people don't necessarily, where are the rest of the, oh, I couldn't find it. I don't sell that many one fabric zipper pouches, even when I buy like the fancy fabrics and stuff. Sometimes it's hit and miss. Like maybe I might be able to sell a Valentine's pouch or a Christmas pouch or something, but I seem to do better when I have a design on it. log cabin, patchwork, quilt block, whatever. So for me, it does better. I mean, when you're making it for yourself, of course, use your favorite fabrics. I eventually will make myself a flamingo or a butterfly or a batik pouch or something like that. But I'm still I use the pouches that I made in 2010 that the zipper is like, it's all lined up and then it gets really skinny, or the zipper came down the front of the pouch versus staying on top, or there's a hole here, or it didn't get stitched all the way somewhere. We can do all of those things. That's why I know myself. Sewing around something at 1/4 of an inch is just a worst case scenario for me because it's hard to line up all the layers. But if I do it at 3/8 of an inch or 1/2 an inch, then I got wiggle room to get wobbly. So remember, just because we sew at 1/4 of an inch when we do quilts, if we make a quilted tote bag or a quilted zipper pouch, we don't sew at 1/4 of an inch. Bag makers sew at 1/2 of an inch. Clothing makers sew at what, 5/8 or something like that? All right, but that's it for me. So we're going to do that. So let's pull the calendar back down again and let's just refresh ourselves, and then everyone can go and make dinner, do dishes, or whatever. So today's the 17th. Ooh, look, there's 5 Saturdays. Okay, I only go live on the 1st and 3rd, and when there's a month with 5 Saturdays, I get all excited because that's like a whole weekend off. And when there's 5 Sundays, I only do 4 Sundays now for Patreon. So we're going to do the birthday sale here. Come on. I'll put things in Etsy and they'll stay there all weekend. So if you can't make it for the live sale, because what it is the live sale is I'm going to go, hey, I have this flamingo pouch and this butterfly pouch. I put them together in Etsy and I'm going to charge you $1 million for it. But I put it on sale for, $1,000 because I'm going to go outright. I don't know what the numbers are going to be, so I'm going to be totally outrageous. So then you'll be like, oh, wait, I never saw that pouch. I forgot you made it. Whatever. I meant to buy it and I didn't. Go to the Etsy shop as I'm showing it to you and buy it. Or buy it ahead of time. Whatever works. And then the 21st, we're going to do foundation paper piecing live. And then March, so it gives you guys plenty of time. So for anyone that's doing dental and car and whatever, that gives you plenty of time to find zippers. I recommend 2, because if you make a mistake on the first one, you can seam rip. You can take the fabric. I have half pouches that I've taken the zippers out and reused them. Okay, either someone just walked past my window or there's been a Target bag blowing around in the breeze. I'm waiting to see how many days it takes for it to blow it back over the wall because I'm being a brat. I told you I was being a brat. So either the bag blew by or someone walked by my window. Anyway, and then I'm going to leave this day open and you'll let me know what we need to do that day. Do we need to do more zippers or do we need to sew the pouches together or what? And then each month, we'll do foundation paper piecing on the first Saturday. Foundation paper piecing live on the first Saturday. And then we'll do whatever on the other day. Something scrappy. So the first Saturday, we'll do any of the foundation paper piecing, things that I already own, or if I accidentally pick up, along the way, and then we'll sew something scrappy. It's usually going to be a mug rug or a zipper pouch. Let's face it, it's what I do. Maybe we'll make some quilt blocks. You guys did say that here and on Patreon that you guys wanted to do more quilt blocks this year. So we'll start doing some quilt blocks, but I'm not going to make a quilt. Okay, I'm going to show, this is the quilt block. Have at it. Make it into a hot pad. Make it into a mini quilt, big coaster, little coaster, mug rug. Do whatever you want with it. Make 50 of them and make a quilt. I'm not going to make a quilt because Giovanna already knows. If she knew where I was going with this, she'd be picking on me already. I'm not looking because she might pick on me. And then I'm not going to make another quilt because I'm not going to make a quilt, right? Hi, Amanda. Who are we saying hi to? I don't know who we're saying hi to. Oh, Amanda, I see it. So we're not going to make a quilt because I already have enough quilts that I haven't finished. And I don't want another quilt unless I plan it out specifically. So we'll do things. We want to do string blocks. We did herringbone blocks before. We can start out easy. We've done like snowball blocks. We've done 9 patches. I showed you how to figure out numbers for 9 patch. We can do disappearing 9 patch. I might make my blocks smaller so that I can put them together into a tote bag or a table runner or a sewing machine cover or sewing machine mat, and then you guys can make it bigger. Do you need special paper? For what? Zipper pouches? No. For this project, if you do, oh, foundation paper piecing? Okay, hold on. Let me take my microphone off and I'll show you what I'm using. This is from Missouri Star. They sent it to me recently. I talk about it in this week's vlog, so I'm not going to go over it, but I just have all my foundation papers in here. So what I'm using, because I purchased them, given them, already have them. I thought we would start. Now you can go online and look for free papers to print out. I'm going to start with the courthouse steps. This is It's So Emma. If you go through my posts, first of all, the affiliate link to Fat Quarter Shop is down below in the description box. And if you click on Linktree, it's in there also. So I gave you 2 places to find it. But you can get this there because it's So Emma. But you can Google free foundation pieces for whatever you want to work on. I thought that this would be, this one someone sent me. And I just thought it would be the easiest one because it's like a log cabin. I'm going to make mine scrappy. They're not going to look like that. So you can use whatever. Oh, thank you, Laura. They're a little bit crazy right now, but I'm hoping as I get more organized. I just went a little crazy between Christmas and now and just kept pulling out the camera and just recording snippets of whatever I was doing. So they're kind of disjointed. So as we get going, they'll be a little better. Like the one you're going to watch next Wednesday they're all going to be chatty, but I didn't make much this past week. So you're not going to see a lot of creativity, but you're going to see different things. So each day I had something different to work on and I just took you along. I thought this would be fun to make scrappy with a low volume scrappy background. This is the woven star. Now the Fat Quarter Shop has these in different sizes. I like to choose the 6-inch blocks because I can use my smaller scraps. I'm not having a problem using up larger scraps. I'm having a problem using up the smaller ones. So that's why I got the smaller blocks. And this one you can do without it, but I find that if you look up how to make a scrappy rose quilt block, you should be able to find a blog post for this. And they just kind of show you how to do it. But this one has the papers. And you see how small everything is? So I can use scraps. And I just want to make different colored flowers and stuff. I don't know if I'm going to put green around mine, but whatever. And then the last one I have is I have a triangles on a roll. I think I have a flying geese on a roll or something somewhere. I have another on a roll and I just haven't found it yet. It might just be the papers and I'm confused. But I have been catching a few different videos. No one shows you really how to do this scrappy. But I caught someone doing something because I was actually watching and not listening. And I learned something. I know, it's crazy, right? Watch a video and you learn it. It was one of these like a live stream type of thing, or just people were going, hey, in the studio and they were sewing, and they did one thing that's going to help us use our scraps up for that. And I'm just storing it all. And here's something that is going to be very helpful. If you have the finances to get an add a quarter ruler, this is going to be helpful. Otherwise, I suggest picking up some, what did I just call them? The little cards. Help me out. No, Laura's had a harder time. I'm not going to pick on poor Laura. Index cards. Index cards, or like a one of those fake credit cards that you get in the mail. You want something thin and sturdy that you can fold your paper over. This add a quarter ruler is going to help us not have to, this is going to help us, you know how we cut our paper apart? I don't want to cut the paper apart. If you want to buy it just once or just print out just one, I'm going to show you how to not sew through the paper. This is going to be helpful because the add a quarter does a lot of things, but it's very beveled. You see how it goes really skinny here? That allows you to take your papers and fold right on the line. Like I said, you can do it with an index paper. This is hooked to fabric. Is that working? Give me. This is going to allow you to put it right on the line and fold it. It's really thin compared to a school ruler. So a school ruler won't work. You want something very, very thin here. So that allows you to fold it directly on the line, and we'll be able to use it for various things. I think this is $10, $8. You can check on Amazon. The prices are always different. They do have them at Fat Quarter Shop. I might have seen them at Missouri Star, but I don't know. Remember, if you shop at Fat Quarter Shop, I'll earn a couple nickels. So that's what I'm going to do. You can do anything you want because we're going to learn the technique versus you have to do everything I do and do it just like me, and we'll all have the same project when we're done. Maybe you don't want to do courthouse steps. My go-to when I do scrappy things is always log cabin courthouse steps. Uneven log cabin. It's just where my brain goes. So any kind of papers, index cards, Sue, but they are basically the same. Recipe cards will work. Anything that's really thin, you can use scrapbooking paper. You can use an old calendar. You just want something really thin that's sturdy enough. You can't just use a piece of school lined paper because you want something that's not going to bend easily. You want something that kind of can wave. Like this is just a piece of paper. This is too thin. So you want something a little thicker than regular paper, but these rulers, they're too thick compared to the add a quarter. Now the add a quarter is going to help us trim a 1/4 inch away from the paper. It's not necessary. Like, okay, can you make a quilt with a pair of scissors and no rotary cutter? Yes, but the rotary cutter, the ruler, and the mat combo make it easier. You can put a towel down and use it as an ironing mat, but the wool mat makes it easier and a little bit better. So if add a quarter is in your budget, or you might already have one, something really thin and sturdy is what you need. That's why an old credit card works too. We'll pick on you a little bit, Laura. I don't want you to be left out or anything, because Giovanna hogs the spotlight, you know. Jody, I can pick on her, but she comes and goes so much, she's not fun. If you tell me it's okay to pick on you, I just want you to know I'm not going to be mean, but I'm going to pick on you. I'm going to say, like, Giovanna talks too much, and she's always like, Robin, do this, Robin, do that. You're doing it wrong. Giovanna likes to leave comments telling me that I make life harder for myself. And I have to tell Giovanna she's absolutely right, because I do make life harder than myself. So we're all going to hang out here. Oh, a cereal box. You're right. Something thin. Think credit card thin. But a cereal box will allow you to have a longer piece. Let me pull out my papers again. I didn't want to spend the extra money and get a 12-inch ruler because it almost doubled the price or whatever. But when we look at our papers, we want a ruler to make life easy. If you're getting a cereal box, get something that, see, this piece is, we'll say 4 inches. It's like 3 3/4. So whatever a long line is, you want a ruler or a piece of cereal cardboard or your credit card to be long enough, because otherwise I have to fold it, move it, fold it, move it, which is fine. But if you're cutting a cereal box, cut it long enough. Go online. I know there's a lot of, if you just Google free foundation paper piecing quilt block patterns, there's usually like, here it is, and here's a link to a download to print it out. You can look on Pinterest, you can just search it on Google. Just throw the word free in there and something with foundation paper piecing or FPP. And then just make a couple blocks. You don't have to make a whole project. Again, you can make a coaster, a pot holder, a hot pad, a bowl cozy. Just make sure you're using all cotton stuff if you're going to make that. Yeah, see, that's the problem, Giovanna. You never know, right? I always try to think of you because Giovanna tells me you're in Italy, correct? She's always like, we can't get that shipped here, or that cost, you bought it, Robin, for $4, but it cost me 35 American dollars. So I try to think of things like, I used things before, and if I'm only going to do one, right? I got the add a quarter because I want to show you guys some tricks. But if I were making it myself, I would do an index card. I never would have thought to get a piece of cardboard from a cereal box, to be honest with you. Probably because I don't eat a lot of cereal anymore. Cheez-Its box? I don't eat those either. I'm allergic to milk. Paper piecing ruler from Fallon and Subby Quilts. Yeah, now people make their own personal rulers. You don't have to, it doesn't have to be add a quarter. It might be a paper piecing ruler or something like that. And you don't have to do it. I always say, let's do it the cheapest way we possibly can to start with, and then go from there. But because I'm a Fat Quarter Shop affiliate, I want to buy some things from Fat Quarter Shop each month to showcase it. And hopefully those of you who enjoy it and have the funds and the budget to do it, you might go shopping there. So while I don't want to shove things down your throat, I do want to say, if you want to purchase something like this, look, we did this, right? And I'll say, if you work like I do, I need a drink, I'm dry. Hold on. You saw the process I went through. So I've shown you how this tool works. If this tool doesn't work for you, don't buy it. I'm not pushing something on you. I'm just saying, hey, I was searching for things on sale, or I saw this in a video and it looked like fun. Maybe I should have done a little more research before I spent my money on it. $15, $14.48. I saw these, and I know you can make these without the foundation paper piecing, but the price was reasonable because I watch for things that are on sale the month I'm shopping, and I just grab it. And I got this one because, as I said, someone had sent me this one, the courthouse steps. So I thought, oh, that looks like kind of fun. And we've been talking about foundation paper piecing, but you guys can do this on the cheap. I'm going to show you, like I said, where I don't know if we can do it with every block because I haven't done it, but I know this one we can definitely do and only have one piece of paper. If you printed this online and only had the one, you'd be good. But as I said, it's like you can make a quilt with scissors, but a rotary cutter is easier. We can make this project bare minimum cost, but if you're going to make a bunch of things, it can get easier to have a specialty tool. If you do foundation paper piecing with a free pattern, we work on it, and you're like, whoa, Robin, you're crazy. Because let me tell you, I'm not doing more than what you're seeing here. the big rose is like the fanciest that I'm going to get. And I only got this because I love this project and I can't do it without the paper. Mine gets crazy wonky and I end up with weird pieces and stuff, and I couldn't get the center of the rose to work. So I need the paper. But I'm not doing anything else. This is my limit. I love this star. I wanted to do this one for a while, but you have to do these different angle cuts and inset seams. And I thought, well, if we're going to do foundation paper piecing, we may as well get some things that are fun, right? Yeah, Fat Quarter Shop in Missouri Star, you're going to find the two things you need, right? I buy a lot of gadgets now too. Yeah, that's right, Laura. It's the convenience and how accurate you need it to be. If every log cabin, because that's basically what this is, you just sew it differently in a different order. If every log cabin you make is wonky and you absolutely loathe wonky and you can't get that 1/4 inch seam, what is going on? Because that's how I feel sometimes, so I can talk like that. Then maybe this is what you need. And when it gets smaller, this this is sewn with 1.5 inch wide pieces. Now, don't let that scare you because you can get the one that's 12.5 inches and that uses jelly roll strips. Again, I have a ton of 1.5 inch strips that I'm not using anymore, so I want to do it. I might even do, because of the foundation paper piecing, I might make a red block and a blue block. I might use all red, or maybe I will, because I have a lot of white that is small bits, so maybe I'll use my white tone on tone scraps for this, because I just have a bin of white that's doing nothing for me. So maybe that might be it, and I do all red and then white and then all green, because I really want a rainbow quilt. You know how it comes from the corner and diagonally down with like log cabin blocks and it's rainbow? I really want one of those. So maybe that's what I'll do with this. But I'm on a budget. I don't have a lot of money. I don't make a lot of money doing what I do. I'm living with my grown children, so that gives you an idea, right? So I want to keep the money I have for the things that I need, and I want to save it up because my cats, knock on wood, keep having issues. So I keep spending a lot of money at the vet. So I'm only going to buy one of these. And like Jackie said, you can now... illegal, immoral, you make the choice on this decision. I'm never going to buy another one of these. So it's not like, I personally do not feel morally like I'm stealing from this company, because I'm going to spend, let's say this costs $10. I'm going to spend $10 there next month and get something different. But I'm never going to buy another one of these. But if I want to make more, I might just save the paper. You know, so you decide what you feel comfortable doing. If you don't want to reuse the papers, then don't. There is a technique using freezer paper like what we had for this block. Come on, blocks. There's a technique with freezer paper where you use the glue. It's not glue on freezer paper. It's just a shiny side that sticks. It kind of like melts. So you use the freezer paper, but when you go to sew it, and that's what we're going to do here, just to give you a quick idea. I'm sorry, I haven't watched much of the chat. Okay, so you put your ruler, and this is where the skinny ruler helps, right? So you put your ruler up against here, and you fold it over. So this is freezer paper that I got at the grocery store. I know some of you in other countries have to order it from Amazon, wherever you are, like Amazon UK and stuff. So you fold it over, right? And then when you have your fabric sticking out, let's do this. So I have my fabric sticking out, right? Then I take this, and it has a lip underneath here to hook right on the paper, and you trim the extra fabric off so there's only 1/4 inch sticking there. So then when you have your two pieces together, like this piece and this piece, it's already 1/4 inch, and you sew right along the paper. And then when you go to the next one, you fold this one back. and then you trim it 1/4 of an inch. And that's the basic technique. So there we go. See how right there it's got a lip? It just hooks right there on the paper, and then it allows you to trim. That's 1/4 of an inch wide, so you can just trim it off. You got yours? Oh yeah, you can get it from the butcher, yeah. You can get the freezer paper, and then they have like butcher paper and stuff like that too. So you have time to purchase and add 1/4, or get a box of cereal, or like I said, an old credit card or an index card. Excuse me, I drank too much soda too fast, my apologies. And then you need to have at least 2 zippers that are 12 to 14 inches long. Let me get my planner so I can mark it in my planner. I'll put out a video on how to, one second, on how to, what are we doing, March 7th? On March 6th, I'll put out a video. I know, I'm trying to think, on how to cut the fabric. I'll show you, we'll cut the fabric for the zipper pouch. We'll either do it on, well, I'll do it on that Friday. Cut zipper pouch fabrics for, 12 to 14 inch zippers. We'll go ahead and we'll prep our fabric on Friday. If I don't show it on Wednesday, Wednesday might be better, so it gives you time, and then we'll sew on Saturday. Sound like a plan? Yeah, you can mark on your ruler and stuff like that if you have a regular ruler. I like these rulers. Hold on, that's not my favorite ruler. I'll show you my favorite ruler. A lot of people seem to have these rulers. So there's the yellow rulers. Who's this? That's Optima. Let me just one second. Bear with me. I want to give you the right name. The OmniGrid. OmniGrid has these skinny yellow rulers that you put on the center to mark for half square triangles. So they're 1/4 inch or 1/2 inch wide. But these rulers, these are creative grids. This ruler specifically, it's a 6.5 by 1.5, but it has 1/4 of an inch already shaded. So you could put washi tape or painter's tape or whatever and mark 1/4 of an inch, or you can use this. So the thing is you would lay this down and then you would cut it, right? But this one, because it has this ridge on it, it catches on there. So if you don't want to buy it for that, I'm saying buy it for the skinny part and this part together. But if you want to just use a regular ruler, you can take washi tape or painter's tape and build it up more and more and more and more until you create that same ridge that's on this ruler, so that when you put it on there, it'll catch. Otherwise, you just got to pay attention. Oh, there's 1/4 of an inch. I can do 1/4 of an inch all day in my sleep. Even I can do it, right? So just whatever works for you. If you can afford it and it's available to you and you think you want to do a lot of this, I highly recommend that. As I'm practicing, before we get to that time, you'll probably see these tips and stuff discussed more in the vlog videos. And I think that's going to be one of the best things, is we can hang out and chat. It benefits me because I'm always looking for someone to chat with throughout the week. But I think it's going to benefit you too, because during those vlogs, because they're meant to be chatty, I won't delete it if I ramble. If I start throwing some tips in and stuff, the glow line tape, yeah, I just found that in one of my storage boxes. I have that too. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to kind of mix everything up, and we're going to do the same thing we've been doing all along. We're just going to do different things. I'm not changing who I am, so this is still, it's still going to be Robin land. So the vlog styles allow me to be a little chattier, and it gives you guys, you don't have to look all the time at what I'm doing. Throw me on in the background and listen to me. And if I say something cool, look up. And if you have to, rewind it, right? Put me on fast speed if I talk too much so you can get through it or something. But there's going to be a little bit of something for everybody in the Robin world. If you like what I do, then we should have something for everyone. I think we're going to learn a few new things and learn a few tips and tricks along the way. And I plan on making at least 200 zipper pouches this year. I've already lost track of how many I made because that's too much like work. And then I can't remember, did I mark down the apple one or did I mark down the orange one? Or have I made 4 zebra ones? Did I mark down 2? Because I was just putting hash marks, so I didn't know what the hash marks were for. So I couldn't figure it out. So it doesn't work for me, but I'm going to make a bunch. I'm going to make a bunch. I think we'll have fun. And anytime you guys need more, just let me know. I'm not really good at if you say, hey, Robin, can you show us how to make a door handle iPhone pocket thing? Yeah, that's probably not going to be me. But if you're like, hey, I saw you do something in a video and you didn't show it very well. Can you show it to me again? Can you show me how to, this is what I see you making. I don't understand how to do cut the corners on a coaster. Can you show that again slowly over and over again so that I can understand it? Be like, yeah, I can do that. Robin's going to be Robin. You can't change who you are, right, Giovanna? You can grow and you can improve, but you're always going to be you. Giovanna's always going to be Giovanna. She's like that little sister that follows you everywhere, that's a pain in the ass and annoys you. But when she's not there, everyone's like, where's Giovanna? She's not here. So you can't change who you are. You can only just grow. If you know you're a slob, you're always going to be a slob. But you can be an organized slob if you know that your husband or you always throw your socks at the foot of the bed, maybe you on the floor, maybe you need to put a laundry basket there. You're never going to stop doing it. It's always going to be a habit. So if you can break the habit, great. If you can't, if you're messy everywhere, get a big garbage can on the side to just push it all into. We don't change who we are. Yeah, I just want to be background noise, guys. That's all. I'm just going to be background noise. I'm not going to talk while I'm sewing. I'm not going to put music on. You're going to hear the sewing. Sometimes you might watch me iron, and I don't want to talk to you at all. I'm just going to iron. So I'll speed it up a little bit. Like I ironed, I think, like 8 or 10 fat quarters in this week's video, but I think I showed you 2. I just let the camera roll, and when I go to edit it, I'm like, whoa, that's too much, and I chop it off. But I want to be able to say, hey, look at what I bought, because I keep forgetting to show you what I bought. I am an affiliate now with Connecting Threads, so again, I'll make a couple nickels if you use my link, which is down below in the description box, in my link tree here and over on Instagram. But I bought new thread a while ago, the Cotton Essential line. This one is red, because I don't have a red. This one is blush, because this is the best light pink thread that I've ever found. It goes on everything that you need pink on. I bought black, and then Missouri Star sent me black, but those little spools, they don't last that long. This has more thread on it. And then I didn't have this pink. This pink is, see, it says sweet pink on there, and it just has a number. So I tend to write, I peel the sticker off, and I use a Sharpie, and I write sweet pink on the bottom, because I don't have a medium pink. And then this one is, oh, it's Bluebell. Look at that blue. I have dark blue. I have very, very pale light blue, but I have a medium blue. So now I have that. Plus I have my cone. This one has 5,000 yards, and this is what it looked like a year ago. So this one I put the date in, it's March 2025. So this one will probably be January 2026. So it doesn't last quite a year, but y'all know I've sewn a lot of stuff this past year between coasters and zipper pouches and stuff. So yeah, I love, just like Noise the cat. Oh, awesome. Because I need something, you sound like you're like me. I need something in the background to just be humming in my ear while I'm doing it. Because I can listen to like the same audiobook over and over again, or I can watch TV shows that I've watched over and over again because I don't want to look at the screen. So putting on someone's live stream, or just, like I said, putting on someone else's. I've watched the same Quilt As You Go zipper pouch. Gosh, I hate it that I can never remember anyone's name. The lady that does the old quilts and says, what can we learn from this old quilt? And she had, oh, it's not scabies. What is that? When you had the chicken pox as a child and now you get it as an adult, she had that, and she does the Missouri Star boxes. So I watch her, and she does this. I just listen to her and Erica ARNDT, I never know how to say her name. Shingles, yeah. She just had shingles this about a year ago, and she just finally gotten over it, even though she had the shingles back. So the distance, see, I knew you guys would know. Chris O'Neill, so the distance, perfect. See, you guys know what I'm talking about. I don't have to remember names. But we've been here for 3 hours now. I think we should go. You guys know what's coming up. If you have questions about anything, if you email them to me, I'll be sure to incorporate that into my videos so that you know what's going on, especially if you can't be there for the live streams. And if you watch the live streams and you still have questions, email me again or leave it in the comments, and I'll make a standalone video or put it in with the vlog. Because with the vlog, I'm going to be able to incorporate knitting and diamond painting and embroidery. As long as I sneak it in the middle for just a few minutes, we can do a bit of everything. So thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. I'll see you guys on Wednesday. I'll see my patrons on Sunday, which is tomorrow. We're starting the giraffe applique. I put up some new tiers for the patrons over on Patreon. Link down below in the description box is what we always say. If you want to wander over there. And I don't know. I know I really do want to put some new free videos over on Patreon. I'm thinking if there's like bits that I don't add into the vlog or something, maybe I'll combine them over there, or take some Instagram and cross it over for the free section or something. But I really appreciate you guys, and I'll see you next time. Bye.